Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Hokage. Start with one-click enhancement. Chapter 61. The skills Urana learned, except that the silent array was not strengthened, have basically reached their limit. And if you want to exert the strongest power of these ninjutsu, you have to achieve the Kage level invincible achievement by Urana. But even so, with the Urana configured in this way, it can be considered a good hand among the Kage level powerhouses. Although not comparable to the shadows of the 5 ninja villages, these people are also very difficult to kill Urana. After all, Urana's greatest strength is defense. In other words, Urana already has the ability to escape Cloud Shinobi Village even if his identity is revealed. 12-year-old Kage level, if Yu Chiba Itachi is a monster, it doesn't seem to be too out of the ordinary. In the original book, Uchiha Itachi opened Mangekyo Sharingan, 12 years old, and Master Susanoo stepped into Kage level, 13 years old. Urana is 3 months old and is also 13 years old. Speaking of the biggest factor restricting my ability to play, maybe it's the issue of age. The next step can be a little slower, and if the strength continues to soar like this, it will be a burden on the body. When I strengthen another attribute, I can slow down and take a breather. You can't be fat with one bite. Now that the goal is expected to be reached and he already has the strength to play against Mizukage, he doesn't need to be so desperate. Otherwise, if it continues, there will be a threat of physical damage. However, even if I try my best and want to increase my strength later, it won't be that easy. The more you need to strengthen the point later, the more outrageous. Kage level requires 50 W enhancement points for each attribute, while Super Shadow requires 100 W. It takes him nearly 2 months just to step into the Super Shadow and strengthen any attribute. It is not a long way to go. Host: Urana. Age: 12. Swordsmanship: Blink, Ninjutsu, Mist Shinobi Technique, Moisture Body Technique, Thunder Pillar Wall, Emotion Wave, Thunder Formation. Enchantment: Perception Array, 6 Pillar Flame Array. Sealing Technique: Bound Stream Karma Curse. Illusion: Golden Binding Technique, Jingani Technique. Weapon: Balian Teidao. Level: Shadow Genin, Chunin, Special Jonin, Jonin, Elite Jonin, Shadow, Super Shadow, 6 paths. Strengthening point: 33.5 W. Afternoon. In a training ground in Cloud Shinobi Village. Urana is swinging a sword, and her strength has grown too much at once, and she needs to be in control. And not far from him, there are other Cloud Shinobi training. Isn't that Kira? He's training again, really hard work, I haven't seen him have a good rest for a few days. A Cloud Shinobi could not help but sigh with emotion, watching Urana, who wielded his sword fiercely, and was chilling. Sure enough, there is a reason why he is strong. With such hard work, it is difficult to stay strong. Just, why is he so obsessed with getting stronger? Is it because the strength is not strong enough and the money is not enough? But I heard that he has even performed several S-level tasks, and the family property is now a few million yen. It should be Wu Yu. I don't know, isn't there a saying, geniuses have quirks, maybe he just likes to cultivate. Everyone had different opinions, but the eyes that looked at Urana were full of envy. Yes, who cannot envy it? As the strongest of the young generation in Cloud Shinobi Village, even Darui is ashamed of him, can he not envy him? By the way, his swordsmanship is really terrifying. Even if it's just an ordinary sword swing, and I have stood so far away, I still feel a cold neck, my hair tight, and I feel like I'm going to be beheaded. Look at the earth in front of him, a cut has been cut by the pressure he released with his sword. It's so strong, even if he is not a ninja, he can become a very powerful swordsman. Yeah, this is a genius, no matter what you do, it is so handy. For these people's discussions, Urana naturally went in with his left ear and went out with his right ear. He is now slowly adapting to the strength in his body. Drink, he suddenly shouted, and a cold light flashed by him, and a majestic chakra sword aura burst out. Puff, a black stone in front of Urana was cut in half. Moreover, a hole appeared on the ground and continued to spread forward. After spreading for 20 meters, it stopped. Sure enough, I still can't control such a majestic chakra perfectly at once. Urana glanced at the boulder, then continued to swing the long sword in her hand. Drink, drink. With his constant cry, the surroundings are constantly breaking. But the spread length of the sword marks on the ground is getting shorter and shorter, and the chakra aura on Urana's body is getting more and more condensed. Until the end, Urana was like an ordinary person. With a slash, it just happened to cut away the boulder, and there was no other movement. But this does not mean that the power has become weaker, on the contrary, it has become stronger. Because the strength is fully condensed, it can be retracted and released freely. The best evidence is that the cut surface of the first slash was very rough. And the last blow, it was as smooth as a mirror, and it was extremely smooth. Okay, so awesome. Looking at the scene in front of them, the crowd of Cloud Shinobi couldn't help exclaiming. The chakra breath that Urana broke out just now gave them a sense of despair of facing death directly, and there was no room for resistance at all. Too strong. Moreover, if they remember correctly, the boulder cut by Urana seems to be a special chakra stone whose hardness is comparable to steel. It is not a powerful A-level lightning-style ninjutsu, and there is no way to damage it at all. As the steel is fragile as tofu in front of him. These people thought this in their hearts, and when they looked at Urana, they felt like looking at monsters. How strong is he? These Cloud Shinobi have never seen anyone with such a terrifying swordsmanship. Does the ordinary blow also have the full power of the previous flash? It is worthwhile to spend so many strengthening points. But the disadvantage is that if I use the slash with all my strength, with my current body capacity, I can only use it a few times. Wiping her head full of sweat, Urana whispered in satisfaction. Within an hour, he was able to smoothly control the power he possessed. The rest will be handed over to the next battle and follow-up daily training. Then, he left under the gaze of the crowd of Cloud Shinobi in amazement and admiration. And not long after he left, Fourth Raikage also appeared here. He looked at the sliced boulder and couldn't help sinking into contemplation. Is this your full state? Hira, I am afraid that your strength is already stronger than your boss fighting wolf. The chakra breath that Urana had exploded earlier, he naturally felt it too, it was so powerful that it surprised him all. Therefore, he observed Urana here for an entire hour, and the more he looked at it, the more frightening he became. This terrifying swordsmanship alone is probably enough to defeat many Jonin in the village. Hira, is it really a wise choice to keep you on the assassination team? You are too hard to be controlled. The growth rate of your strength is really terrifying. If this is your original strength, how much courage and perseverance it took you to hide before. But if you were only that strong at the beginning, and then became so strong in 4 months, it would be too pervert. Your speed of becoming stronger is like riding a rocket. No matter who you change, it is impossible to catch up with your progress. In all fairness, if Urana had not become so strong without Tianxin's investigation, he would be very happy. But now, all Fourth Raikage feels in his heart is worry. It's time to remove you from the assassination team, you are so dazzling. I won't completely trust you until your identity is cleared. Just transfer you to the trapped dragon cave where Erwei Jinchuriki is, and leave you and you wooden golem together and guard each other. In this way, you won't have access to the outside world. During this period of time, Fourth Raikage also sent a lot of spies to Kurigakure to probe for news, hoping to get some news about Hira from Kiri Shinobu. But it seems that since Tianxin sneaked in, Kurigakure's defense has been strengthened countless times, and he can't sneak in at all. It seems like Urana said at the beginning. After, successful framed, the elder Kurigakure lifted his pants and turned his face to deny him, and kept Kurigakure's full guard from dripping water. The people he sent out did not gain anything. Urana naturally didn't know that Fourth Raikage was planning these things in her heart. But he knew what Fourth Raikage had just peeked from the side while he was practicing. The violent aura of Fourth Raikage can be sensed by Urana instinctively without opening the perception array. So, what would you think? What would you do? Raikage. Urana walked to the fishing tackle shop and bought fishing rods and other tools. When she came to a certain river under Cloud Shinobi village, she got off the rod. Then, he quietly raised chakra to supplement the chakra consumed by the practice just now. After strengthening his energy and stepping into cage level, he doesn't need to worry about chakra problems much. Because his current amount of chakra should be considered a lot in the entire ninja world. Excluding those monsters whose chakra volume is not bottomless, such as the tail beasts, the 2 generations of Six Paths heirs, and Hoshigaki Kisame and others. His chakra volume should be the one with the most. The amount of chakra is enough, and I will feel at ease a lot. Refining chakra is also a practice. Whether the mind is as calm as water and concentrating in one place is related to the quality of chakra. Urana doesn't want to go through a second purification process. And the reason why the first choice to strengthen the energy attribute is because compared with the other three, strengthening the energy attribute is the option that can increase the strength the fastest. After all, after strengthening the energy to cage level, and then strengthening various skills, the strength improvement is the biggest. Power, speed, and agility are not as effective as any one of them. After waiting for about 15 minutes, the first fish took the bait. It's not as difficult as I thought. Taking off the fat girl's soury, Urana thought with a smile. It's like reaching cage level. Article 2. Article 3. Article 10. Come back and go home. Retrieving the fishing gear was precisely the Qingyu probe. At the time of the dim handover, there was still a little sunset on the night, the stars flickered, and it was so beautiful. In the gentle breeze, Urana returned with a load. Today's wind is very gentle. Or the tranquility and beauty before the storm. HMPH, I am looking forward to what kind of thunderstorm will be coming next. No one knows what Urana's words mean. It's like the casual singing of a wandering poet, maybe it doesn't have any meaning in itself. Or, it has profound meaning. The next day. Today's task is relatively arduous. I hope you are all mentally prepared, and it is best to be prepared for death. In the assassination team, Fighting Wolf cast a glance at Urana and the others, and said seriously. Preparation for death. Captain, when do we have no such preparations? Isn't the assassination team a place where death is possible at any time? Yes, that's right, none of the 18 of us know how many times we have changed, and how many of us can survive for half a year. Only the captain and you and Jinghong are the only ones. Hey, isn't it just death? I'm already prepared, anyway, there is nothing regrettable about this point in life. Everyone in the assassination team is quite indifferent, even as an undercover agent, Urana has to admire, these people are indeed heroes. This time, the task is to be hired by the name of the country of thunder to help him regain the treasure that fell in the country of the vortex, the famous monument. This thing has also been spotted by various forces in the country of fire, the country of water, and other surrounding countries. It is rumored that this is a key that can unlock an enemy's national treasure somewhere in the Sengoku era. Therefore, all major forces are bound to win. Daming Lei Jinyan offered a huge salary of 200 million yuan and asked us to take it back. Otherwise, Master Rakage will be challenged by the daimyo. So, we must fight our lives to take back this famous monument, and we must not let him fall into the hands of any other forces, understand? After listening to the words of Fighting Wolf, Urana couldn't help feeling in her heart, 200 million. It's really a big deal and it's inevitable. You know, the General S-level task salary is only 1 million yen or more. There are very few tasks that can give 10 million higher money. Let alone 200 million. Of course, this is also related to the price of the ninja world. A normal bowl of tonkatsu ramen costs about 600 yen. Just eat for one day, maybe thousands of yen. If you eat a good meal, it won't be 10,000 yen. Therefore, ninjas are actually not very profitable, and they have to fight for their lives. As a ninja, the status is really not very high. If you want to survive, you have to become someone else's pawn. Don't let your fate be controlled by others. It's no wonder that the ninjas who can use hidden weapons are the children of some families, and the civilian ninjas really can't afford it. When Urana was feeling this way, Fighting Wolf's order had been given, and everyone set off. On the way, Jinghong, if the battle is fierce and you have spare energy, please help them to take care of them a little bit. Don't let them die like this. When Fighting Wolf passed by Urana, he whispered. Well, if I can do it, I will try my best. Urana smiled, this Fighting Wolf is not as cold as it seems. However, both the fire country and the water country have stepped in. I don't know if they will meet acquaintances. Urana murmured in her heart. It's okay to say that the country of fire, but it's not easy to say, the country of water, should you slap them cruelly. Urana was a little entangled. It can be said that these people will become his sister Terumi Mei's subordinates in the future, and they will all be Kurigakers capable men. He killed these people, like self-destroying the city wall, he really can't do it. But Fighting Wolf also found out his thoughts and said to him, Jinghong, this time we will inevitably encounter people from Kurigakure, the water country. At that time, don't be soft-hearted and cause the mission to fail. What this said was quite cold, and there was no room for rejection at all. Churning, yes, Urana replied feebly, saying in her heart, I don't know who Kurigakure is leading the team. He expressed his great expectations. When Jinghong and the others set off, Kurigakure and Konoha Shinobi Village also sent their ninjas one after another. Kakashi, this mission must not be missed, I will leave it to you. Third Hokage patted Kakashi on the shoulder and exclaimed, It must be done, Master Third Generation. Kakashi replied very firmly. Behind him, Might Guy, Uchiha Itachi, and the legendary wood-style ninja Tenzo unit stand. It can be said that the lineup is quite strong. I don't know if I will meet the white cold light guy again this time. This time, I will definitely not let you succeed easily. Uchiha Itachi thought so firmly in his heart. I haven't seen him for nearly half a year. He has become a lot stronger, and his accomplishments in all aspects have improved a lot. He is looking forward to playing against White Hangwang again. And at the same time, Kurigakure. Loquat Juzo, don't cut it again, Hoshigaki Kisame, this task is left to you, you should know how to do it. There is only one goal, bring back the Mingu Monument, and complete the mission of His Royal Highness. Mizukage Yagura gave a very serious command to the three people in front of him. Understood, Master Mizukage. The three of them replied and retired. Then, after the three of them were specially ordered by Terumi-Mei for a few more words, they also set off with a group of warriors. In their team, Ghost Lantern Shueyu, Ringo Yuyuri, and Shima Ishin were among them. And in a certain sea not far from the country of the vortex, two people also stared at the famous monument. Bye, do you want us to take action to help Master Urana seize this ancient monument secretly? For such a task, he will definitely be in the Kurigakure team. Kagaya Kimimaro licked his lips, already with a fierce breath, his eyes flashed with spirit. It's really a good idea, but we have to plan carefully. Didn't someone want to hire us to do this task a few days ago? Just agree to it. Shui Wuyubai agrees with this idea very much. In that case, it's so decided. Kagaya Kimimaro got up. At the age of 10 this year, he has reached the special Jonin, and he can fight with Jonin. Coupled with Shui Wuyubai's ice escape, even Jonin might fall into their hands. Therefore, the two of them also gained a lot of fame in the shinobi world. Many small countries like to hire them to perform some B-level tasks. At this moment, Urana, who was sitting on a certain ship, did not know that Kagaya Kimimaro had also stepped in. He was thinking about fighting at the moment. However, there is one thing that the ninjas of the three ninja villages of Cloud, Wood, and Fog did not think of. That is the force that is eyeing the famous monument, and there is a powerful organization that cannot be ignored. Dawn at night. Hey, Kakuzu, why do the two of us have to perform this kind of task? Hidan of Shaojisantai carried the scarlet three-bladed sickle, and complained to the figure in front of him very dissatisfied. Stop talking nonsense, such a big treasure, of course, only the old man personally picks it up as the safest. Kakuzu's green eyes cast a glance at Hidan, and said rather indifferently. The organization is quite short of money. Naturally, this kind of good stuff can't be let go. It will be more comfortable once and for all. In this world, anyone will betray you, only money can't, understand? Hidan. In this regard, Hidan said, I know, don't keep repeating it to me, you old money fan. The country of Vortex. Is there really no problem? If we compete with the three ninja villages for treasure like this, is there really no life-threatening danger? I heard that this thing originally belonged to the Kingdom of Thunder, will we really not be crusaded by the Kingdom of Thunder by then? A group of unknown wandering ninjas walked on the road, and one of them was worried. Starve to death the timid, support the daring. No matter who he is, I only know that the first is better. Why do their 5 ninja villages eat fragrant and spicy food and order the ninja world? Has any of them considered the living conditions of our little ninja villages or wandering ninjas? Finally, Wuyu has food and clothing, a good opportunity to make a fortune. Do you want to miss it and continue to live a life of barely enough food and clothing? The captain of this team was unwilling and even said aloud with jealousy. Yes, the captain is right. What are you afraid of? It will take a long time for the ninjas of the 5 ninja villages to get here. This period of time is enough for us to get this treasure, and then escape. Yes, exactly. A crowd of people immediately agreed, and their faces were full of madness. People die for money, and birds die for food. Sincerely do not deceive others. And there are many more teams like them. Yes, why the 5 ninja villages can take it, they can't take it. Just because they are the 5 great ninja villages. No way. At this moment, the most worried person is probably the monks of Mingu Temple where the Mingu stele is located. Konoha Village Ninja, you must come quickly. The presiding officer of Mingu Temple prayed like this in his heart. 2 days ago, after the stone stele enshrined in the temple was recognized, it was immediately notified by 2 monks who were obsessed with money and gave it to the name of the country of water and the land of thunder. Although they dealt with it in a timely manner, the news was still leaked. So much so that it caused such a big disaster. They now only pray that the ninjas they ask for help from Konoha village can come and protect them soon. No matter how precious the famous monuments are, they are no more important than their lives. However, the Buddha might not have heard their murmur. No, the people who came in the first wave were not the Konoha shinobi that the monks expected, but a group of wandering ninjas. Old guy, if you know you, hand it over quickly, otherwise, don't blame me for killing. The boss of this group is a big man with shaggy hair all over his face. His aura is not very strong, he is of Chunin level. But this is still not something the monks can fight against. Donor. The abbot still wanted to persuade him, but the boss just pierced his chest just as he spoke. Where does the old guy come from so much nonsense? Little ones, search for me, find out the baby, let's live a good life. Oh, the boss gave an order, and this group of wandering ninjas rushed into the temple suddenly, like a pack of hungry wolves, and began to beat, smash, rob. Although the famous temple is not very famous, it is also a temple after all, and there is money in it. In the face of this scene, the monks were completely cracked, but they couldn't stop it at all. Those who stopped are already lying in a pool of blood at this moment. Amitabha, Amitabha, guilty, sin. Except for these 2 sentences, they can't say anything else. It can be said to be quite powerless. Found it, boss, I found it. Suddenly, a ninja exclaimed, holding a quaint stone tablet the size of a basin and engraved with the word, Mingu, on it. His face was full of joy. Good job, little ones, retreat. Seeing this scene, the boss was ecstatic and immediately issued an order to retreat. A group of people come fast and go fast. Ha ha ha, now we have Wu Yu. Your wandering life, let me go. We will have a good life from now on, women, money, everything. The boss yelled with excitement. It can be said to be extremely proud. And the consequence of doing so is. Puff. His chest was pierced by a man with long grass green hair and he was killed on the spot. This kind of baby, you're afraid you can't afford it. Standing on the steps down the mountain of Mingu Temple, this person looked at the group of people in front of him and said with a grin. Boss, you guy, dare to kill our boss, I'll fight with you. The crowd suddenly turned red, and they rushed to the green-haired ninja. HMPH, a group of ants dared to shout. The green-haired ninja looked at these rushing people extremely, and Jayan said, fire style Shinfire technique. A turbulent flame engulfed these people completely, and also ignited the surrounding woods. What? Suddenly, a scream came from the flames. The green-haired ninja immediately rushed forward. However, within a few minutes, the famous monument was obtained, and the rest of the people died in his hands. Ha, you are worthy of this kind of treasure with your waist. Only my uncle can have this qualification. With this ancient monument, my uncle finally doesn't have to continue to be a B-level trader. After all, he quickly rushed down the mountain. But there are too many people eyeing this monument. The green-haired ninja soon died in the hands of other wandering ninjas. Then, it went over and over, changed hands several times, from the Mingu temple to the foot of the mountain only 2 kilometers away, but there were no fewer than 10 battles. And the team that finally got the famous monument was the team that said, why do the 5 ninja villages order the ninja world? Withdraw. Eliminate the traces. Now, we are developed. The boss of this team resisted the excitement in his heart. Learn. The others are also extremely excited, with unconcealable desire and greed on their faces. But will they be the ultimate winner? Of course not. Could you please give us this stone tablet? Just when this team is advancing to a certain forest, about to step out, and the sky will be wide. Suddenly there was a line in front of them and stopped them. Sharingan, Konoha costume, wait. You are the copy ninja Hitaki Kakashi. The boss immediately recognized the identity of the person in front of him. It was Kakashi and others who came here. How come it is so fast? The moment he saw Kakashi and others, the captain's heart was cold. In battle, they can never be opponents. But it is really reluctant to hand over the supreme wealth in this way. Anyway, it was something they struggled to fight for. Woo! At this time, there was another sound of breaking through the air behind them, and a group of ninjas wearing Kurigakure forehead protector appeared. Would you like to think about it and give that baby to us? Think clearly. Konoha Shinobi has always been kind and may not kill you. But if you don't give it to us, we will not care about it so much. You don't want your own subordinates, all of them will die because of your difference. The leading loquat Shazang grinned and said with an extremely cruel smile. Ninja sword 7. Everyone, seeing the decapitated broadsword carried by loquat Shizo, the boss couldn't help swallowing. It's not just that, but that person, it's a ghost and a peachy land, don't cut it again. Someone pointed at the bandage-wrapped body no longer screamed in horror. And the person behind them, that should be the white cold light Urana who is famous in the ninja world. A person pointed to the masked ghost Dang Shuiyu trembled. Hiss. This team of wandering ninjas couldn't help but took a breath, and began to retreat in their hearts. Old, boss, want, or, let's, or, retreat, this thing, let's, no more. Some people persuaded that the tone was full of panic. This lineup, it is too easy to kill them. Yes. Hearing these words, the boss suddenly showed a strong expression of struggle, and he was too unwilling to give up such a handy treasure. But what can you do if you are not reconciled? Without strength, there is no qualification to enjoy this kind of treasure at all. He sighed, then made a decision, and sternly shouted at the brothers behind him, scatter around. People of Konoha, this ancient monument is given to you, labor and capital are not playing. With that said, he directly threw the famous monument into the air, and people whizzed into the dense forest. Wise choice, superior, Kakashi and Loquat Juzo exclaimed in their hearts at the same time. Then, he issued the same order to snatch the famous monument. Wood-style great forest technique. After Konoha made a quick seal, his arm turned into multiple pieces of wood and rushed towards the famous monument. It can not only regain the famous monument, but also resist the enemy. What? Wood style. Seeing this scene, the Wu Renren couldn't help being shocked, showing a hint of shock. Konoha unexpectedly appeared another wood-style user, true or false? Didn't it mean that no one can use it anymore after Senju Hashirama? Wood-style ninja, this is not easy to deal with. For the famous monument, really desperate. Water-style water burst, and when the teammates were horrified, Hoshigaki Kisame had already shot. With his terrifying chakra volume, the volume of water that created a huge lake spewed away. Wow, what an amazing amount of chakra! A crowd of Konoha shinobi hurriedly backed away, facing the water wave like the tsunami. No one dared to confront it head-on. It is Tianzang's wood style, which was broken by the huge water pressure, and the famous monument fell into the water. Good job, Hoshigaki Kisame. Seeing this scene, Loquat Shizo couldn't help but praise. Then, someone immediately prepared to dive into the water to salvage the ancient monument. I won't let you succeed, Wu Ren. Lightning style go. After an Anbu fell on the surface of the water, Extreme Speed Kian released outrageous thunder and lightning. Suddenly, the outrageous thunder and lightning spread directly to the Wonin. HMPH, stupid Mizuna, using such a range of water style, don't you know that the water is energized? This Anbu said contemptuously. Use lightning style together, so they have nowhere to stay. Kakashi issued a combat order. When the words fell, Kakashi's hands were changing rapidly, and he shouted, lightning style Thunder Wolf. I saw Kakashi released a violent thunder and lightning on his body, turning into a ferocious thunder wolf and rushing to Hoshigaki Kisame and the others. Behind him, a group of Anbu quickly finished printing, pressing on the water, lightning style. But before they release lightning style, the Loquat Tenzo said, "Guys of Konoha, I won't stand and be beaten by you." He slapped a palm on the water and shouted, "Water style rough seas." The last moment I saw the extremely calm water surface, the next moment it roared again like a tsunami, rolling and tumbling. The water waves of more than 10 meters high are bombarded with terrifying power. I want to use lightning style, naive. Water style water flow cutting. If he didn't cut it anymore, he saw that after he finished the seal, the huge surface of the water broke up directly, blocking the spread of lightning. Hoshigaki Kisame, take advantage of this, hurry up and take away the famous monument. Don't cut a grin and look at the Konoha shinobi who is constantly avoiding the waves on the other side. Learn. Hoshigaki Kisame grinned on the shark's face, and took a shot in the water, water-style water mackerel technique. A shark-shaped water bomb rushed into the water immediately and was about to swallow the famous monument. Water-style water tooth bomb technique. But at this moment, a calm voice sounded. Hoshigaki Kisame suddenly saw 2 high-speed conical water jets at his feet, and the forcing Hoshigaki Kisame had to retreat. Who is it? Hoshigaki Kisame suddenly looked in the direction of the sound. I saw Uchiha Itachi taking a deep breath, fire-style phoenix fire technique. A crimson fire bomb like a small meteor hit Hoshigaki Kisame and the others. The speed is very fast, the temperature is quite high, and the threat is quite big. Water-style water barrier. If you don't cut it quickly, you must create a defense. But when Uchiha Itachi flicked his sleeves, a shuriken flew out, almost like a phantom, directly interrupting the knot that never cuts. So fast. If you don't slash and then quit, I am even more surprised. Such an attack speed is too scary. The rest of Wu Ren hurriedly avoided the attack of the Phoenix Fire. However, the trajectory of the Phoenix Fire attack is controlled by Uchiha Itachi, and it is not so easy to successfully avoid it. What? Immediately there was Wu Ninja's move and was blasted out. Seeing this scene, Loquat Shazang couldn't help but yelled, and when he wanted to rush towards him with a big knife, there was a sharp sense of threat behind him. Lightning-style Thunder Wolf. The Thunder Wolf released by Kakashi had already roared close to him, blocking his thoughts of attacking Uchiha Itachi. Loquat Shazang had to turn around to protect himself and deal with Thunder Wolf. And when he was dealing with Thunder Wolf, the one who had just been forced to retreat without cutting but rushed towards Uchiha Itachi. Seeing this, Hoshigaki Kisame, who was about to launch a surprise attack, was also stopped. It is Konoha's arrogant blue beast, who almost kicked out the finale Might Guy in the future. The 6th view gate, open. With a vigorous cry, Might Guy instantly changed from an ordinary ninja to a terrifying god of war similar to a Saiyan. The momentum was so strong that the surrounding Anbu were forced to retreat, and the water surface was blown away by a rather large hole. What a terrifying chakra breath, it really looks like a terrifying beast. Is this a Konoha shinobi? It's really powerful and exciting. Hoshigaki Kisame sharks all have excited smiles on their faces. I'm afraid, that doesn't exist. Then, he sank directly into the water and rushed to the ancient monument. Upon seeing this, Might Guy naturally sank into the water and chased after him, absolutely not letting Hoshigaki Kisame succeed. And just when they started an amazing battle, the battle between Loquat Juzo and Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi has begun. The rest of the two sides, without exception, also fought together. However, the overall situation is that Konoha has more advantages. If you want to ask why, because they also have a wood-style ninja Tenzo. Even though Gui Dang Shuiyu and Ringo Yu Yuri worked together, they could barely deal with him, which was quite difficult. What's the matter? The legendary White Cold Light has only so much ability. Tianzang said with a slight scorn. Asshole, which one of your eyes can tell that I am a White Cold Light Urana? My name is Gui Dang Shuiyu. Gui Dang Shuiyu, do you understand? Hearing what Tianzang said, Gui Dang Shuiyu shouted rather irritably. Not White Cold Light. Hearing this, Tianzang suddenly couldn't help squinting his eyes, quite disappointed. He thought he could appreciate the strength of the White Cold Light. I want to see how strong the White Cold Light is praised by Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi. As a result, I didn't run into it at all. Hey, what do you look in your eyes? Don't I just make you feel uninterested in fighting? Seeing the contempt in Tianzang's eyes, Ghost Lantern Shuiyu exploded again and shouted wildly. But Tianzang didn't answer anything about this. However, not answering is the best answer. Other places. Mist Shinobi technique. As expected, it's a ghost who doesn't cut it anymore, it's really amazing. In the mist where no sound can be heard at all, Uchiha Itachi couldn't help but praise. Just know how good it is. So, throat, head, heart, eyes, spine, how do you want to die? There is no longer a proud and icy voice, murderously awe-inspiring, but the person who can't see him at all makes people panic. I don't plan to choose anything, because Uchiha Itachi, who saw him, twisted his body and rushed in a certain direction with a heavy step. The shadows of his hands continued, and chakra was converging toward his throat, fire-style great fireball technique. A 5-meter large scorching fireball rolled away, like a small sun. The high temperature made the mist suddenly fade. Woo! A figure flashed back in front of the fireball that I saw. No need to think about it, this is naturally not to be cut. Upon seeing this scene, Uchiha Itachi suddenly showed a smile on his face, raising his hand and shooting out a few kuns. Don't say the angle is tricky, and if you don't cut it, it's hard to avoid all the kunai when you think it is over. Uchiha Itachi, who has seen it, shoots a kunai again. Then, I listen to the ding 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 with a crisp sound of golden iron. Something magical happened. All the kunai that was about to fall were actually regained strength by the last kunai impact, and they deviated and attacked again. What? If you don't even think of Kuwu being able to play like this, there is no time to deal with it. Just heard 2 puffs, and there were a few more scars on his body. At this time, Uchiha Itachi had already drawn his sword, turning into a cold light and coming at extreme speed. Fortunately, he reacted quickly without cutting, and immediately drew his sword to resist. Base. Accompanied by the ear-piercing roar of golden iron, he couldn't help but snorted if he didn't cut it. After all, in a hurry, I didn't exert my full strength at all. But his focus is not on this. He asked in amazement, isn't my mist shinobi technique effective for you at all? Why can you attack me so precisely? Uchiha Itachi's great fireball shot came precisely. It would be terrible if it was a missed hit. If he wasn't caught off guard by the great fireball, how could he be so embarrassed? The effect is natural, but compared to the white cold light, your mist shinobi technique is still too far behind. In order to fight him without being so strenuous, I have studied mist shinobi technique very much. After all, Uchiha Itachi, who saw him, looked up, and there was a black triangle windmill in his scarlet eyes. Mangekyo. He lifted his foot and stepped heavily on his abdomen, which he never cut again. Naturally, he won't let him do what he wants and leave on his knees. But Uchiha Itachi's move was not an attack, but with the help of the strength of not cutting himself to make himself withdraw. Fire-style Phoenix fire technique. Just like Urana, he almost didn't see his seal, and a flame bomb surrounded Shang and didn't cut it again. If you don't cut it anymore, immediately revoke the mist shinobi technique. Then, he was hit by flames. But it only made a sizzling steam sound, it turned out to be the water body. The real no more cut appeared from a distance, panting slightly. If you don't cut anymore, you have taken the initiative to disarm the mist shinobi technique. What's the situation? Isn't that his area of expertise? Why would he give up such an advantage? Loquat Juzo saw this scene, very puzzled in his heart. He knows how strong the mist shinobi technique is without cutting it. Even if it were him, it would be nothing more than a half-century. But with such a big advantage, would he give up on his own initiative if he didn't cut it? Could it be that his enemy, Uchiha Itachi, can see through mist shinobi technique? The thought of this made him startled. If that were the case, it would be horrible. And when they were fighting, in a certain tree not far from them, a group of people was watching their battle. No one else, it is Urana them. What a fierce battle, it's so strong. It's not cost-effective to have a head-on conflict with this kind of enemy. Let's wait for them to live and die before we can profit from it. Jinghong, wait for you to be responsible for dealing with Konoha shinobi. Leave it to us. Someone from the assassination team looked at Urana and said jokingly. Good idea. Urana raised her brows and smiled. Okay, don't be distracted, the enemy we face is not easy, don't reveal your whereabouts. There may be people who are the same coveted secretly. If you don't want to die, you should pay attention to it. Do Lang said coldly. Everyone was awe-inspiring, but what Urana was thinking at the moment was, counting the time, the deity should almost arrive on the battlefield. Hey, this plan is so bold, it makes me feel exciting to think about it. As expected, you, deity, and only you dare to do this. At that time, I can't help but get this valuable and famous monument, and I can also remove the identity suspicion by the way. Hey, the name of Thunder Country, you are such a good person. And just as he was thinking about it, on a mountain about 5 kilometers away from them, Kakuzu was asking about the situation around him. I said, Kakuzu, is it necessary to be so troublesome? Just rush over and grab the thing. Hidan beside him couldn't help but vomit. With our abilities, there is no need to worry about these people at all. Hearing what he said, Kakuzu couldn't help but cast a glance at him and said, if you want to die, don't pull the old man hasn't lived enough yet. Just kidding, although Kakuzu thinks he is very good, he is not so arrogant that he can handle the elites of Konoha village and Kurigakure at the same time. Cut, it's boring, when are they going to fight? Absolutely, how is the situation? Hidan asked impatiently. Never hurry up and say, well, it seems to be going hot. Oh, by the way, there was an amazing person. Kakuzu, you should be interested in him. After hearing this, Kakuzu suddenly became interested, and said, who is it? Is it the person on the underground bounty list? Ju smiled and nodded, and said, yes, that legendary genius, White Cold Light. He suddenly joined the Kurigakure camp. At this moment, the entire battlefield has stopped because of his presence. It seems that Kurigakure's people don't believe him very much. Hearing these words, Kakuzu's eyes suddenly flashed, and he said, I didn't expect this mission to have such an unexpected joy, not bad. I was a little disappointed to see that the White Cold Light did not appear before, but it's okay now. I want this kid's head and the famous monument. Back to the battlefield. Yo guys, long time no see. In front of Gui Deng Shuiyu and Ringo Yuyuri, Urana suddenly appeared and blocked Tianzang's killing blow against them. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Why are you here? Hey, it's true. Didn't you go out to perform a secret mission? Why did you come back suddenly? For his appearance, the people of Kurigakure seemed quite surprised and couldn't believe it. The crowd looked at him very vigilant and completely distrusted him. Don't you allow me to come back suddenly. Hearing this, Urana couldn't help but smile, then looked at Tianzang, and said, I heard that you really want to see my level. Now your idea has come true. Come on, show your ability, don't let me down. Facing Urana's provocation, Tenzo did not rush up immediately, but confronted Urana intently. That guy, is it really Urana? I don't know, there is always something wrong, don't let your guard down on him. I haven't heard the news of the completion of his mission. Even if what he said is true, he must be absolutely vigilant. Moreover, all of this is based on the fact that he is indeed Urana, and that there is no hostility at all. Loquat Juzo, and the others because of Urana's sudden joining, temporarily interrupted the battle with their opponents. The same is true for their opponents. This Urana appeared so weird, there is no way to be sure of what position it is. Before that, let's observe the situation first. I hope he can see something in the battle with Tianzang. Both parties thought in their hearts. It's so calm, but if you don't take the initiative to attack, then I'm not welcome. Having said that, the Urana who saw him immediately turned into a phantom who swished and deceived himself in front of Tianzang, swinging the long knife in his hand like a cold light. So fast, everyone on both sides couldn't help being shocked, frightened by the terrifying speed of Urana's attack. Hey, Tianzang's pupils shrank into needles in an instant, and his whole body was chilly. But it wasn't until Urana left a hole in him that he reacted and retreated. The reaction speed is not above the same level at all. Water-style water gun technique. But before Tianzang has any other reaction, Urana seemed to have no seal at all, and released 3 condensed water bombs that penetrated Tianzang's body. What? The Tianzang who saw him had 3 more blood holes immediately, which made him scream. Although I only strengthened the water gun technique to level B, the power is used by my current strength, I am afraid it can compare the lethality of level A. Urana thought like this in her heart, and then approached Tianzang again, pointing her long sword straight at Tianzang's neck. Not good. Help. Seeing this scene, Konoha. Everyone was shocked and quickly shot. Earth style wall. Fire style phoenix fire technique. Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi released ninjutsu one after another. One protected Tenzo in, and the other completely aimed at Urana and went away. According to normal circumstances, when the target is protected and he is attacked by the enemy, any ninja should retreat immediately. Uchiha Itachi and Kakashi think so too. But, puff puff. Urana was hit directly without avoiding it, and everyone at the scene was shocked. He can't avoid it. Uchiha Itachi looked at Urana who was hit, thinking in disbelief. Impossible. How fast Urana's reaction is, he knows too well. He can easily avoid this kind of attack. But the next moment, he knew why Urana didn't avoid it. Bah! The Urana that was hit immediately turned into a piece of water and evaporated. Water body. Water vapor. Wait. Seeing this scene, Uchiha Itachi first exclaimed how fast Urana released ninjutsu, and then suddenly had a very bad idea. Hurry up, Captain Kakashi, don't let him use Mist Shinobi technique. His purpose is to use the Mist Shinobi technique to cover our sight, and then take the opportunity to steal the famous monument. At the same time he shouted, he had already expelled a 5-meter fireball and burned away. What? Listening to Uchiha Itachi's words, let alone Konoha, everyone in Kurigakure couldn't help being surprised. Okay, as expected, Uchiha Itachi, he saw through my intentions so quickly, but you are one step late. Water style Mist Shinobi technique. Urana's appreciative voice came, and then, a thick fog instantly enveloped Konoha and Kurigakure. Suddenly, everyone's ears were quiet, and the silence was alarming. The visibility is less than half a meter, and the line of sight is completely blocked. Everyone became vigilant in an instant, they were fully absorbed, and did not dare to relax at all. There is no sound at all. Is this the white cold light Mist Shinobi technique? It is too terrible. Kakashi tried to calm down and listen to whether there was any movement around him, in order to make some corresponding judgments. But unfortunately, there was no sound. It's really difficult. The white cold light can't make a sound, it means that you can't transmit information through voice. Unless I can get in touch with sensing ninjas quickly, so as to alleviate the current situation. Uchiha Itachi also watched vigilantly around him, including under his feet, in case he was attacked. As for rushing out, it is impossible. When the surrounding situation cannot be determined, a rash impact will only accidentally be injured or be severely injured by others. This dilemma, isn't it to let him succeed? Among Konoha's people, Anbu clenched his fists anxiously, and then showed a decisive expression. Captain Kakashi, sorry, I might accidentally hurt you. But for the famous monument, I think this sacrifice is worth it. Everything is for Master Hokage. Thinking of this Anbu ran and started to seal. He actually wanted to release the attack. This guy is not Urana, he even attacked us. If you don't cut it anymore, use wind style to disperse them together. The famous monument will never fall into his hands, nor can it be taken by Konoha. Compared to Konoha and everyone blinded, the ninjas on Kurigakure's side could hear each other's voices, and Loquat Juzo hurriedly shouted. Naturally, this was deliberate by Urana. Kurigakure would certainly not get the treatment that Konoha village hoped, so it should be a little bit of privilege. Understood, wind style. Before he waited for someone to respond, he was ready to seal the seal, but only halfway through, he actually felt a violent crisis hit. Zitsa. The sky of thunder light attacked them directly, so they had to retreat quickly to avoid the thunder and lightning. Moreover, the most amazing thing is that the fog actually dispersed at this time. I saw a group of ninjas from Cloud Shinobi Village, attacking Konoha and Kurigakure. Their faces still have 3 points of hideousness, 3 points of excitement, and a sense of consternation. As for the astonishment, it may have come from the fog, and it will dissipate in any way. They plan to use this mist to severely damage Kurigakure, Konoha village ninja. Shoo! All Cloud Shinobi had to withdraw quickly. Without the fog, they would not dare to be big, thinking that they could fight Kurigakure and Konoha Shinobi at the same time. But Konoha and Kurigakure are not focusing on them now. It was on Urana who had disappeared. No, he will get the famous monument. When looking into the water in both directions, Urana who saw him didn't know what method was used, but he passed the obstacles of Might Guy and Hoshigaki Kisame and grabbed the famous monument in his hands. Stop him, don't let him break out of the water, the famous monument must not be taken away by him. As long as you successfully stop him in the water, he won't last long. Not everyone, like Hoshigaki Kisame, is the shark man who can breathe in the water. The time that a normal ninja can hold his breath in the water does not exceed 5 minutes. In the Cloud Shinobi team, the water of Urana looked at the deity in the water, pretending to be surprised. Is he a white cold light? It's really young and outrageous. Did you let me be suspected by Master Hokage? I really want to fight with you and see. His words made Do Lang frown, and an inexplicable light flashed in his eyes. In the water, don't you want me to go out? There are 2 more dangerous enemies staring at me. Allah Allah, if you want to play this game, you really can't do it without any strength. Urana grinned, showing a rather playful smile. It's really exciting to fight Kurigakure's own people. But there is no way, for this famous monument and the hidden treasures afterwards, it is worth it. It would be too wasteful to give this kind of treasure to the daimyo. You should use good things where they should be used. Urana's plan is to swallow it alone. Then after he finished the mission of Cloud Shinobi Village, he took this stone back and gave it to Terumime so that she could use it as funds for the future development of Kurigakure. Then let me see if you can stop me. Tying the famous monument to his back, Urana burst out with all his strength and chakra. Boom! Suddenly, the surface of the water boiled and roared. A powerful force waved out, and Hoshigaki Kisame and Might Guy in the water were both caught off guard and retreated. Urana is like a wave-breaking ship, rushing to the surface of the water at great speed. 7th surprise door, open. But immediately, Might Guy's low voice came from behind him. Urana suddenly got hairy behind her back, and her whole body shrank involuntarily. Boom! A more majestic chakra breath boiled out, pushing the lake made by Hoshigaki Kisame into a gap. The people on the surface of the water couldn't help their discoloration, and quickly backed out, because the surface of the water was completely untenable. Guy, stop, this will only help him escape. Upon seeing this, Kakashi hurriedly shouted out, telling Might Guy to stop attacking. Tianzo, catch him. Kakashi shouted to Tenzo behind him again, asking him to attack Urana in the water. If you don't cut it again, so will we, catch him. The famous monument can't be taken away by someone of unknown origin. Loquat Juzo also uttered a voice to let the mists attack. That can't give you a chance, in that case, I will definitely die. Thanks to the blessing of chakra that Might Guy just broke out, he is about to reach the surface of the water. And when everyone was going to attack him, of course he couldn't just watch it. So many people attacked him together, he couldn't bear it. Water-style water barrier. Water barrier is a very interesting ninjutsu. It can be used as a defensive ninjutsu as well as an attack ninjutsu, creating tide waves to resist people. Urana launched the water barrier at cage level, which was strengthened to the A-level ninjutsu level, and the power can be imagined. Just like possessing the power of a giant, this 10-meter high tide cannot be resisted at all. Everyone was completely retreated, and ninjutsu Jayin was interrupted. Everyone, meet in the mountains and rivers, goodbye. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Urana naturally rushed out of the water in an instant, and then rushed into the dense forest. Chase. Don't let him run away. Don't try to escape. Seeing this scene, the people of the 3 ninja villages shouted out at the same time, and then they chased away. Just kidding, the 3 elites who admitted their mistakes were dispatched together, but in the end they were cut off by a ninja of unknown origin, then where would their face be put? Hey, it's exciting. Facing the crowd chasing behind him, Urana couldn't help but smile. The excitement of this tight-fitting body is really great. Then, he Jayin again, turned around and sprayed a thick mist to the people who were chasing him, and moved toward the surroundings at an extremely fast speed. Now that the Urana chakra is sufficient, it is not a problem to cover a kilometer or 2. If it weren't for the inability to reveal his identity, he really wanted to have a lightning-style handily. Jinghong, Chase, you have experience fighting mist shinobi technique. As soon as it was enveloped in the mist, Fighting Wolf shouted to Urana beside him. Understand, but this guy's mist shinobi technique is really a little way, I really don't have full confidence. After that, Shui's body rushed out, and suddenly it disappeared from Fighting Wolf's sight. And watching all this from a short distance, Ju suddenly revealed a look of surprise. What's wrong? Absolutely, your expression gives me an ominous premonition. Kakuzu keenly sensed the expression on his face and asked out loud. The mist shinobi technique of this white cold light guy blocked my perception. He is hiding in the mist, I can't detect his situation at all. Absolutely said seriously. What a cunning guy. Hearing his words, Kakuzu couldn't help but exclaimed. But it's okay, he can't stay in the mist for long, pay close attention to the surrounding situation, he will always come out. Kakuzu commanded Ju in no panic. He didn't believe it. With such a super-sensing person, could Urana still run away? The famous monument was organized by Xiao Xiao. Appeared, on the edge of the fog, heading towards the canyon in our direction at 9 o'clock. Ju said again that Kakuzu has gotten up and said, Hidan, work. Hidan, really, things that can be solved tomorrow morning, you just have to delay it until now. His face is quite impatient, and there is a deep dissatisfaction. He strongly disagrees with Kakuzu's practice of only watching the show in place without taking action. According to his nature, it is not enough to kill him directly, anyway, no one can help him. Why wait so long here? There is still the possibility of being escaped by the target. You are naive, you rush out with so many people, you think I have time to help you stitch your body. If you don't drag me down, I will burn incense. You don't think that group of people are all crooked melons and dates? Kakuzu snorted coldly, and said to Hidan quite dissatisfied. Oh, Kakuzu, you actually said I was a cumbersome. Upon hearing this, Hidan was immediately unhappy. But Kakuzu had already left, and he was not given a chance to complain. Seeing this scene, Hidan could only jump and curse, and then followed. Where the people of the 3 ninja villages are located. The mist is gone. I don't know who yelled such a sentence. Everyone immediately looked at it. Sure enough, the mist was slowly dissipating, and the line of sight was slowly recovering. Perception is restored. In the 3 ninja villages, some people screamed in exclamation one after another, and then they all began to explore with their own perception abilities. Cloud Shinobi village is here. No, Jinghong is injured, and his breath is not so good. Just a few seconds after Qingcheng began to perceive, he hurriedly spoke to Fighting Wolf. What? Hearing this, Dulong and other Cloud Shinobi couldn't help being surprised, and then, under Dulong's leadership, they hurried away. When I saw this scene, Kurigakure, where everyone in Konoha village would watch, they all caught up immediately. Protect Jinghong, speed up. Seeing this scene, Fighting Wolf immediately ordered to speak out, allowing the crowd of Cloud Shinobi to speed up. But the result of this is that Konoha Shinobi are faster. Because they don't intend to fall behind Cloud Shinobi at all. Jinghong is there. On the way forward at extreme speed, Qingcheng pointed in a certain direction. Urana was leaning against the tree. Her face was pale, there was a blood hole in her chest, and there were several openings in her arms, bleeding unstoppable. How are you, Jinghong, can you still act? Qingcheng came to Urana's side and asked worriedly. Ahem, although I was seriously injured, but should not even lose the ability to move. Urana gave a wry smile, trying to get up, but fell heavily to the ground. It seems that I overestimated myself. Urana smiled bitterly again, looked at Fight Wolf and the others, and slowly moved to the tree. After being supported and leaning against the tree, he said, Sorry, I missed. The white cold light is indeed a white cold light. The strength is indeed tyrannical, much more powerful than the intelligence said. His swordsmanship is even more exquisite than mine. Water-style ninjutsu is better than my grandmaster. Dulong frowned slightly when he heard the words, and then said, Where did the white cold light run? Urana replied, At 12 o'clock, if my judgment is correct, he should have gone to that gorge. If you go there, through the canyon, it will be a denser forest, very suitable for escape. Hearing these words, the surrounding Konoha Shinobi and Mist Shinobi suddenly showed their emotions. However, because of mutual jealousy, no one is the first to go first. Instead, they confronted each other just like this, for fear of being preempted by someone, but for fear of being attacked by the other 2 groups when they were preempted. Let's do it, Hitaki Kakashi, Loquat Juzo, you and I each sent 4 trustworthy ninjas to chase down the white cold light. After the pursuit is reached, we will send a signal immediately. We will compete fairly and conduct 1-to-1 competitions. In the end, the winner will control the famous monument. How about? Fighting Wolf made a suggestion and asked Konoha and Kurigakure for their opinions. I agree, Konoha village, what about you guys? Loquat Juzo agreed immediately and looked at Kakashi. I have no opinion. Even if I don't agree, it doesn't make much sense. The two of you who support the same opinion are already in alliance to some extent. If I oppose it, it will become your common enemy, which is not worthwhile. At this time, Kakashi is not yet the beloved model teacher in the future. He is called Hatake 55th Man. At this moment, he is still Anbu's cold killer. Let's start, everyone, choose 4 ninjas. Do Lang glanced at the two of them, and made a gesture of inviting him. Kakashi and Loquat Juzo immediately began to select candidates. The pursuers selected by Kakashi are Might Guy, Uchiha Itachi, Tenzo, and a Perception Ninja. The person chosen by the Loquat Juzo is Hoshigaki Kisame, No More Cut, Ringo Yuyuri, and Ghost Deng Suigetsu. Fighting Wolf selected Chingchong and 3 ninjas who were only inferior to the team. Then, let's go. When the words were over, the 3 teams of 12 men chased in the direction of the canyon. And when they were pursuing their target, Urana, no, to be precise, the water body that had already been adjusted, also encountered a powerful enemy. Allah Allah, I didn't expect to see you two here, this is really tingling. Mozu looked at Kakuzu and Hidan in front of him, and licked his lips. Kakuzu said indifferently, hand over the stone tablet, I can give you a decent way to die. Hidan's face was dark, with a look of horror and said, if you don't hand over the stone tablet, I will let you experience the greetings of Lord Cthulhu and let your bones disappear. Shui Shen suddenly laughed when he heard the words, do you think I will be frightened by your 2 words when I try to grab food from my mouth so laboriously? Come on, if you want to get the steel, let me see if you have that ability. I've been curious about you for a long time, and I really want to see your strength. Hey, S-rank rebels, this is rare. After that, Shui ran with his legs, and the speed was beyond the imagination of the Kakuzu and the 2 of them, and disappeared into their sight. Run so fast, chase. When Hidan saw this scene, he couldn't help but scolded and wanted to chase him out. Absolutely, have you marked it? Kakuzu didn't seem to be in a hurry and asked. Don't worry, he will never escape from the palm of my hand. There is no enemy that I will never be able to chase, I will show you the way. Having said that, Ju sank into the ground and pursued Kakuzu with him. And just about 3 miles behind them, the group of people who didn't cut it was chasing quickly. It seems that there are many people attracted by this famous monument, but if you don't have the strength to dare to covet this thing, in the end it is just a dead end. Along the way, various corpses lay crookedly, their faces, heights, and clothes were completely different, obviously from different places. But they have a very similar thing in common, that is, they are all sealed with a slash, without the slightest struggle. Who the hell is this guy and why does he pretend to be Urana? I don't remember Urana having such a superb swordsmanship. If I didn't cut and scan the bodies of these people, I thought weirdly in my heart. Careful, just when he was thinking about this question, a reminder from Loquat Juzo suddenly came in his ear. He immediately woke up and saw a white phantom coming towards them, blasting in the air. Suddenly, everyone drew their swords to block the attack, but immediately they couldn't help but be taken aback. Bone bullets. The white phantoms I saw turned out to be white bone bullets, and a noun suddenly popped up in his head without cutting it. Wei Yoruichi. Who is it? Come out. He immediately screamed around and swept his eyes. As expected of Kurigakure's elite ninja, really amazing. In the next moment, a handsome boy appeared in front of them, his brows were a little red, not Kagaya Kimimaro, who was it? Sure enough, it's you, the remnant of the Kei Yoruichi clan, Kagaya Kimimaro, a B-rank rebel. If you don't cut your eyes, he suddenly cold, and said murderously, very well, since you want to deliver it yourself, then I don't mind getting rid of your scourge by the way. It just so happens that there is no trace of you in the village, but I did not expect to meet you here. If I didn't cut it, I didn't intend to ask why Kimimaro was here, so I sprinted forward and killed Kimimaro on the spot. We chase. Seeing this scene, Loquat Juzo yelled, Uchiha Itachi, Chingchong and others will of course not fall, and hurriedly pursued them. Bing done 1000 killing Shui Shang. At this time, another attack came, and they had to stop again, and then looked in the direction of the attack. Shui Wuyubai stood on the tree in front of them and said, I won't let you interfere with that adult's plan. Hearing this, everyone was shocked, and then Loquat Shazang said in a very cold tone, okay, I didn't expect to encounter two rebels here today. Since you want to come across the door yourself, then I'm not welcome. I knew, that guy couldn't be Urana, how could someone like him be with you two remnants? The idea of a gang committing a crime is indeed very good, but unfortunately, you chose the wrong opponent. Do you think you two can stop us? This was quite contemptuous, and he didn't put the two of them in his eyes at all. But this is also normal, what kind of Loquat Juzang? One of the 7 ninja swords, how could he treat the 2B level rebels with serious eyes? Just like an adult, would you care about 2 little dolls? Will not. If you can't stop it, you have to try it. After that, Shui Wuyubai started to seal quickly, saying, Bing Dun Mirror Ice Crystal. Suddenly, a piece of ice mirror immediately besieged everyone, airtight and shining. Everyone, if you can get rid of it, come and have a try. Shui Wuyubai's voice came from the ice crystals, and the figure shimmered and flickered in the ice mirror, making his whereabouts unpredictable. HMPH, Bing Dun just wants to block us, who are you looking down upon? Loquat Shazang snorted when he heard the words, and immediately began to seal, water style. I won't let you succeed, Bing Chibin. Shui Wuyubai's voice came again, and a sharp piece of ice shot out from the ice mirror immediately, trying to interrupt the behavior of Loquat Juzo. Fire style Great Fireball Technique. Uchiha Itachi took the shot. He aimed at a certain direction and came out with a huge great fireball, which immediately melted all the ice. And, hitting a certain direction, there was a muffled sound. The surrounding ice mirrors suddenly shattered a lot. Upon seeing this scene, Loquat Shazang said, Water style Hao Shui wrist technique. A huge wave of water turned into a condensed water fist, which hit the ice mirror heavily, and immediately smashed it out of a huge pit. Let's go, Loquat Juzo shouted to the crowd of mist ninjas. Everyone immediately filed out. As soon as they came out, Shui Wuyubai was standing in front of them, but he was sweating profusely, and there were burn marks on his right shoulder. It's over, kid. Taking advantage of the sickness, Loquat Juzo will not be merciful to Shui Wuyubai. He arrived in front of Shui Wuyubai in an instant, and the decapitated broadsword dropped mercilessly. Shui Wuyubai had no time to deal with it. Base. This blow was blocked by a figure that suddenly appeared in front of Shui Wuyubai, making a sound. It was Kagaya Kimimaro, but he was also struggling to deal with it, and the chucking sound kept ringing. Kimimaro. White, we withdraw. With this effort, it should be enough for the adult to leave safely. Bing Dun Bing Needle Thusanbons. Mizuki Shiro immediately launched an offensive against Loquat Juzo, forcing him to withdraw and buy time for Kagaya Kimimaro to retreat. Woo! When Loquat Juzo retreated, Kagaya Kimimaro and Mizuno Tsukushi also retreated and disappeared into the jungle. Although the two did not cause any trouble to the others, they did delay them a lot of time. Loquat Shazang could not help cursing, and hurriedly pursued again. The other two sides also followed the formation closely, chasing Urana again. As Mizumi said, they had bought enough time for Urana to escape. Even if it is only 1 second away, it may make things more complicated, let alone a delay of more than a minute. At the same time, 3 miles in front of them. Allah, you deserve to be from the Akatsuki organization, really good enough. Moisture looked at Kakuzu and Hidan, who intercepted him again and stood in front of him, grinning with a very satisfied smile. Since you know how powerful it is, then don't do unnecessary struggles, and hand over the stone tablet honestly. I can give you a decent way to die. What I say counts. Kakuzu looked like he was already a winner, and said in a rather calm tone but beyond doubt. That might not work, I won't hand over the steel so easily. Since I can't escape, let me see your strength. Having said that, the water body and hands that I saw quickly turned into a phantom, and then pointed to the sky and shouted, lightning-style thunder formation. Boom! In that instant, dark clouds rolled, thunder and lightning gleamed, a huge bucket of thunder and lightning, as if wrapped in billions of forces, fell as fast as light. Boom! The earth exploded directly, and the rubble was scattered everywhere, but Kakuzu and Hidan were no longer there. Lightning-style false darkness. At this moment, Kakuzu's icy voice rang from behind Shui, and a huge thunder and lightning swept across, and it was also difficult to react quickly. Woo! The water body reacted swiftly, and then retreated, but before he landed, Kakuzu's ferocious voice came again. Boy, your death date is here. Call out. The ground I saw suddenly split, and a black tentacles densely covered it. Kakuzu is often used to snatch the heart, which is quite difficult. I'm afraid that I can't kill me yet. Shui body grinned, and the long sword in his hand flashed with a cold light. Kakuzu felt a sharp edge attack, and all the grieving tentacles were cut off. And Urana pointed at the sky again and shouted, Tian Lei, fall. Boom! Another shining thunder and lightning illuminates the surrounding area, and it abruptly falls towards Kakuzu. This guy, even with the strength of Kakuzu, facing this thunder and lightning, I can't help feeling my scalp numb. This lightning-style ninjutsu attainments is too terrifying. Boom! Another burst of madness, the earth wailed, and Kakuzu was forced into the distance again. And behind Shui, Hidan has already struck. Little devil, feel the power of Lord Cthulhu. The death sickle was swung over to cut Urana's body. But, puff! The water body that I saw turned into a phantom and passed him extremely quickly, and then his head was cut off in this way. Puff puff! There were 3 cold rays again, and Hidan's body was instantly divided into several segments. Kid, how dare to treat my body like this? Hidan has the power of immortality, so even if his head is moved, he will not die, but watching his body be so big, Hidan feels angry. But Shui body didn't pay attention to him. Instead, he looked in another direction and said in his heart, everyone, speed, come on. Isn't this a long way from you? It won't happen. Originally, if he didn't meet the 2 of Kakuzu, his plan was to flee out of the water body and attract the attention of the 3 ninja village ninjas. Anyway, in the end, he lifted his moisture body, leaving no traces, and it was useless to perceive the ninja no matter how powerful it was. But seeing the 2 of Kakuzu, a new plan came up in his heart. Let the people of the 3 ninja villages fight against Kakuzu Hidan, let them attract firepower, and put the criminal for snatching the famous monument on their heads. In this way, the deity will not be doubted at all. Simply perfect. No one will ever know where the famous monument is. In his plan, the people from the 3 ninja villages of Kung Fu should have caught up. But the actual situation has been so long, they haven't moved at all. Could it be that what happened to them? Shui was thinking like this in his heart. He naturally didn't know Kagaya Kimimaro, and the 2 of Mizumi and Tsukibai helped him intercept the people from the 3 ninja villages. Otherwise, he really doesn't know whether to cry or laugh. Oh, I'm so sorry, I defeated one by accident. Mozu looked at Kakuzu with a knife and grinned. Boy, are you provoking me? Kakuzu said with rather cold eyes. If you think this is provocative, then I have no opinion at all. Lightning-style emotion wave. The thunder formation was too expensive, and he was afraid that he would not be able to drag the people from the 3 forbearance villages, so he could only change the policy. In just 1 second, a dazzling lightning flashed out of Urana's body, which quickly spread to Kakuzu. Lightning-style false darkness. Facing the lightning-style attack, Kakuzu didn't panic at all, and also countered with the lightning-style Raiden against thunder and lightning. Suddenly, the place was illuminated again. But just 1 mile away, the people from the 3 ninja villages watched this scene, and suddenly speeded up again. Chasing, hurry, hurry, he should be stopped by someone like this. This is a good opportunity, we must not let the famous monument fall into the hands of others. Loquat Shizo uttered quite excitedly, and the crowd immediately accelerated their pace. Water body here. After the thunder light dissipated, Shui's pupils suddenly shrank, as if he had sensed something. He swished back and withdrew. In the next instant, a black tentacles flew out again, pursuing them. Mohui immediately swung his sword to cut off all the tentacles, and then swung out several chakra sword auras, pushing Kakuzu back. Perception array. He immediately began to perceive, to see where the Loquat Juzang and the others were, so as not to affect the plan. When he sensed that these people were less than 300 meters away from him, he suddenly breathed a sigh of relief and said in his heart, it's finally here. Then, he jumped immediately and rushed to Kakuzu. 300 meters, for their ninja, is a matter of 10 seconds. Therefore, he should be killed by Kakuzu too. And just like to cooperate with the water body, Kakuzu once again manipulated a piece of grievance tentacles to attack, so that the water body cannot help but want to like Kakuzu crazy. It is really awesome. The water body rushed into the tentacles without attacking at all, using super agility to dodge inside. You actually face the grievance tentacles, since you want to die, don't blame me, don't think you can be arrogant if you have strength. Faced with Shui's death-seeking behavior, Kakuzu snorted coldly, murderously awe-inspiring. But the body of water is reciting the numbers silently in his heart. 8, 7, 6. In the distance behind Kakuzu, the trail of Loquat Juzo and others can already be seen. Yoshi, it's time for me to leave, my mission is complete. Thinking of this, he immediately sold a flaw and was pierced through his body. But before Kakuzu was excited, Shui was grinning at him and shouted, I'm not reconciled, the famous monument was finally snatched by you. Then, he broke free and disappeared with 2 swishes. Quote question mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Kakuzu had a lot of question marks in an instant, but before he understood what was going on, he heard the loud shouts of Loquat Juzo and others, don't want to escape, leave the famous monument. Quote question mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. After hearing this, Kakuzu is full of question marks again. When did he get the famous monument? Well, he understands, he is calculated. Was stunned by the water body. Looking at the Loquat Juzo and others who surrounded him, Kakuzu felt that even if he explained, these people might not believe it. Very good, boy, I remember this hatred. Kakuzu kept the face of the water body firmly in his heart, and then looked at Loquat Juzo and others. He didn't intend to talk nonsense with them. The land in all directions broke out with grievances and tentacles, so that Loquat Juzo and the others had to hurry. Retreat. Fire style head hard, he quickly formed a seal, and a monster with a face sprang out from his back, and an unimaginable horrible flame came out from his mouth, covering a few miles in a radius. Absolutely, withdraw, Kakuzu shouted to Ju very depressed. The next moment Ju broke out of the ground, swallowed the broken Hidan and Kakuzu at the same time, and escaped into the earth. The flame lasted for a few seconds before retreating. Water barrier, Tuliubi, lightning style protection. The 3 ninja villages each have their own defense methods. Kakuzu's huge fire did not hurt them much, but everyone's faces were not good at all. Kakuzu has completely disappeared. There is no trace of the water body. The plan to retake the famous monument failed. Ching-chung, where did they go? Can they catch up? Someone at Cloud Shinobi looked at Sensing Ninja Kiyoshi. The latter sighed, shook his head, and said, I can't perceive a trace at all, it's like suddenly the world has evaporated. Konoha's Perception Ninja, how about you? Ching-chung looked at Konoha's Perception Ninja again and asked. Of course, he alone is not enough to convince the public. On the contrary, the other 2 parties may think that he deliberately concealed the facts. But if there is another person from the opposing force, no matter whether this person's views are consistent with him, he will not be questioned too much. No, I can't perceive anything. Konoha replied with an ugly expression on his face. After listening to his words, everyone's complexion suddenly became unsightly. They looked at each other, then decided to return collectively and report the situation truthfully. If he didn't cut it, he punched the tree very unwillingly, his face was quite gloomy. Kakuzu is here, don't let me run into that kid again, otherwise, I must make him look good. Kakuzu, who felt wrapped in the ground sneaking, still murmured with grudges. However, what he may not know is that it is impossible for him to find Urana with the watery face he remembered. Because, I'm sorry, Urzuzi, I promise this is the last time you have done a bad thing, with your face. Listening to the results reported by Ching-chung and others, Urana, who was resting on the tree, wanted to say this in her heart. In Konoha village, Uchiha Sasuke, who is now only 7 years old, shuddered inexplicably when he was concentrating on the second pillar of the class. How come you suddenly feel so cold? Is it because you wear less clothes? Uchiha Sasuke shrank his body, thinking like this in his heart. He didn't know that he had been spotted by an old monster. Unexpectedly, in the end, it would be nothing to do with the bamboo basket. I thought that the fake white cold light was the ultimate goal, but I didn't expect another more powerful one to emerge. I really can't underestimate this master of ninja world. Hoshigaki Kisame grinned, eyes flashing inexplicably. When you go back, you must ask Master Terumime to ask if Urana has returned from the mission, and then joined the mission. Otherwise, I really can't imagine who can imitate such a powerful mist shinobi technique. If this is the case, it would be a bit too scary. Loquat Shizo thought so in his heart. He really almost thought it was Urana. Because so far, he has only seen Urana alone, who can possess such a terrifying mist shinobi technique. Hey, having said that, could this be a collusion between you Kurigakure in advance? Otherwise, how could it be so coincidental? The white cold light is so powerful, how could it be defeated by the mysterious people who appeared in the group, and then disappear without a trace in an instant? There are also those 2 rebels that belong to Uwuran, right? Who knows if he is your undercover? Suddenly, someone in Cloud Shinobi asked questions, and everyone in Konoha looked over. But his words made everyone in Kurigakure directly upset. What evidence do you have to prove that they are our accomplices? We are still confused now. The white cold light in our village, but it is still performing the mission and has not returned. Besides, if he is our Kurigakure, he still needs to work so hard. Wouldn't it be fragrant to leave it to us and then we run together? If we really want to run away, will you land ducks catch up with us? Furthermore, Cloud Shinobi and Konoha are the ones who perceive the ninja, but in the end, both of them have the same conclusion, and neither can perceive the enemy's whereabouts. That's why we came back. As a result, now that the enemy is lost, Cloud Shinobi is starting to plant and frame it. Don't you have to face it? Gui Deng Shui Yu said with a disdainful expression. It was called an unsparing face. You, Cloud Shinobi, who had just made the sound, was instantly relieved, but when he was still talking, he was caught by Fighting Wolf. Okay, don't be ashamed. Kagaya Kimimaro is indeed Kurigakure. I don't know if White Hangwang is himself, but if he is really himself, with his strength, there really is no need for such a strenuous roundabout. He directly gave the famous monument to the people of Kurigakure, and then just flee. You should all understand how strong his mist shinobi technique is. It is enough to stop us for a long time and give Kurigakure people enough time to leave. Speaking of this, Fight Wolf paused for a while, and then said, since the mission has failed, I will not accompany you, everyone. Let's go back to our lives. After that, he whizzed and left. Upon seeing this, the rest of Cloud Shinobi picked up Urana and whizzed and left. Why, everyone in Konoha also thinks that we have colluded with the fake white cold light. Gui Deng Suzuki looked at Konoha's Kakashi and others again, and said in a mocking tone. Let's go. Hitaki Kakashi took a deep look at Loquat Juzo and the others, and then retreated with the team. Although the mission failed this time, it was not without gain at all. At least, he saw Cloud Shinobi Village, a corner of Kurigakure. There are indeed very good ninjas in the major ninja villages. I really can't slack off, I have to continue to work hard. Although the ninja world is peaceful now, it is only on the surface. There are still constant fighting behind the scenes, and all kinds of invisible wars are taking place. Under such circumstances, they should all work hard to increase their strength in order to cope with the war that may come. Let's go, we will go back too. However, we will not have a very good life if we want to go back and forth. Loquat Shazang sighed, and said uncomfortably. Isn't it? If the mission fails, you will be punished in any Shinobu village. Not to mention this important task. However, Konoha village, the exploration of Cloud Shinobi village still hasn't dissipated. It's really stubborn. I said that the white cold light has nothing to do with us, so why don't you believe it? Although it was him, he would make the same choice, but this feeling of being secretly monitored is really not good. Of course, the 2 ninja villages did not achieve much in the end. They could only retreat with regret, go back to each house, and find each mother. It seems that it is quite successful to hide from the sky. It is to prove that the identity is not done very well. Oh, if only the misty ninjas believed me. But that's right, how convincing me that suddenly appeared. But in general, my gains are still great. With the treasure of the famous monument, the revitalization of Kurigakure is just around the corner. As one of the few wounded in the team, Urana has received special care. However, it is only limited to being able to be supported by someone on the road, and the rest is not treated well. Cloud Shinobi Village. What failed? Oh, the other 2 ninja villages also failed. They were snatched away by the fake white cold light that appeared suddenly. White Hangguang was then killed by a mysterious powerhouse. Fourth Raikage asked if you were funny, and lied to me, looking at Fighting Wolf with an expression that was little studying. This is too dreamy. Where did the mysterious powerhouse come from, and what happened to the fake white cold light? No matter how you look at it, they all look like a group of people. That mysterious strong man and White Hangguang are really not the same group. Fourth Raikage looked at Fighting Wolf and asked with confirmation. Maybe it is, but I can be sure that the white cold light shouldn't be real. The people of Kurigakure don't seem to be pretending to be wary of him. The people from Konoha and I have also secretly observed their whereabouts for a few days, and their appearance has not the slightest characteristic that is intended to be concealed. So, our focus should still be on that mysterious strong man. I remember the patterns on their bodies. They can't run away. We should send a corresponding search team to look for them right away. As long as they can be found, they will definitely be able to find their lair along the way, and then retake the famous monument to complete the task. After hearing what Fighting Wolf said, Fourth Raikage nodded, and then said, "Then do you remember their characteristics? The more detail the better." Fighting Wolf replied, "Of course, although it was only in contact for a few seconds, I remember his characteristics very clearly. He wears a black robe with a red auspicious cloud pattern, a mask, and green eyes. By the way, it is the rebel of Takanin village. He wears the Takanin village rebel forehead protector." Hearing this, Fourth Raikage's eyes lit up suddenly, and then he said, "Takaninmura is rebellious, and he can still kill White Hangguang. There shouldn't be many people who meet this requirement, so you have to be an A-level rebel. Okay, then thoroughly investigate all A-level rebels in Takanin village and the targets above them." Hearing this, Fighting Wolf immediately responded and stepped back to execute the order. While doing this kind of thing in Cloud Shinobi village, Kurigakure and Konoha village are also doing it. In the end, they got the same result. Takanin village rebellion, Kakuzu, 83 years old. Wait, no, there is such a long-lived person in the world. What is the concept of being 84 years old? In other words, he has experienced the chaotic era of Sengoku, the establishment of Shinobu village, and the 3 wars of Shinobi. This proper old monster. Can someone live so long? The oldest people. Chiyo Sanda, Ebizo, Sarutobi Hiruzen, 2 Libra Onogi, the highest age is now 70 years old. But this Kakuzu is 14 years older than the oldest 3rd Tsuchikage 2 Libra Onogi. It's so scary. A real old monster. It's no wonder that you can kill the fake white cold light and take away famous monuments. It's really not surprising to have this experience. Fourth Raikage couldn't help but sighed, and then immediately issued a wanted order for Kakuzu. Subsequently, the shadows of the 2 villages of Kurigakure Konoha village also issued the same order. In an instant, the name Kakuzu became louder in the ninja world, and even the Takanin village became famous. But isn't it, the 84-year-old monster, this in itself is very powerful. I heard that Rai no Kuni Daimyo also intends to condemn Takanin village, and attributed all the reasons for the failure of this mission to Takanin village, and let them give an explanation. But this made Taki Shinobu's Kujena look bewildered. He really wanted to say, "Kakuzu is old and immortal decades ago. What does it have to do with us?" This kind of thing can also make them lie down. Shot. At this time, the Nation of Fire, a small expert in the ninja world's peace maintenance, immediately went out and settled the matter. This brought the matter to an end. But secretly, the waves not only did not calm down, but became even more intense. I don't know how many wandering ninjas stared at Kakuzu's head. He wants to take his head and exchange it for a huge bounty jointly formulated by the 3 countries of the country of water, the country of thunder, and the country of fire minus 300 million yen. The 5 great nations, and that little devil, even let the old man give you back, the old man will not let you go. In the gathering place of Akatsuki, Kakuzu has a sentence, "Mom, I don't know if I should say it is inappropriate." And not far behind Kakuzu, the boss of Akatsuki, Zero Burial Heavenly Path Pain said without a trace of emotion, "From this matter, I understand a truth. The existence of the 5 great nations is an important reason for the unpeace of this world. And when we exist, it is reasonable. If we want to change the world, we still have to look at our efforts." Regarding what Tiandao Pain said, the expressions of the members were different. agree, disagree, have expressionless faces. Well, everyone, keep working hard. After working hard to grow the organization, you can start the next step. The next plan is to catch the tail beasts and gather them to form a force that can make the entire ninja world tremble, and use this as a deterrent to keep the ninja world in peace. Everyone nodded and ended the meeting. Before leaving, Tiandao Pain looked at Kakuzu, who was about to leave, and said, "Recently, you have tried not to show up. Pay attention to safety, there are still many masters in the ninja world." Kakuzu felt a little depressed about God's instructions. Is he so uncomfortable? But he nodded, indicating that he knew it. Kurigakure, who is the person who appears the fake Saya, and why the ninjutsu used is so similar to Saya's? In this world, is there anyone who can use mist shinobi technique so well? Sao Yi, what's the matter with you now? Alas, there is no news at all, which is really worrying. Terumi Mei frowned and murmured. She was pretty sure that the white cold light that appeared to snatch the famous monument then was definitely not her brother Urana. Because Urana appeared in the Cloud Shinobi Village team. She was pretty sure that the ninja named Jinghong in the mouth of Loquat Shizang was Urana. Moreover, the mysterious person who faked the white cold light was not in line with Urana's strength. If what Loquat Juzo said is true, then that person's strength may be less than Terumi Mei. No matter how evil Urana is, it is impossible for Urana to become that strong in just 4 months. Don't have anything, Xiaoyi, I'm still waiting for you to come back and change Kurigakure with me. Terumi Mei prayed sincerely in her heart. Cloud Shinobi Village. Oh, I can leave the assassination team now and leave Anbu. After 2 days of rest, Urana finally got the news of fighting the wolf after being discharged from the hospital. Starting today, he was transferred from the assassination team and Anbu, restored the name, Hira, and officially became the special Jonin of Cloud Shinobi Village, and went to the Dragon Cave to guard the second tail Jinchuriki. The two were made up of wooden golem. Chapter 71. Oh, watching Jinchuriki. Captain, it's true, it's a tail beast, my strength, can it work? My small body, maybe even the tail beast Jinchuriki can't stand a blow. Master Raikage won't be so unrelenting. Urana blinked, with a pleased look and a pitiful expression on her face. Sorry, this is true. I persuaded Master Raikage, but he has decided that you must go to the Dragon Cave. Dulong sighed after hearing this. Urana has made so many contributions to Cloud Shinobi Village, but in the end he still didn't get the trust of Raikage. It was a bit chilling to be degraded repeatedly. However, no matter how chilling he is, he must execute Raikage's orders. Hey, can't you let me live a little safer? Speaking of the captain, is there any more arduous job in the village than guarding the second tail Jinchuriki? Let me have a preparation in my heart. In case I am demoted again a few months later, it won't be that big of a psychological gap. Urana sighed and asked. Fighting Wolf heard the words and thought for a while, and then said, that should be a low-level task such as weeding. Other than that, there is only the job of the guard-tailed beast Jinchuriki, which is harder and dangerous. Hearing this, Urana shrugged and said, okay, then say goodbye, take care, Captain. Fighting Wolf nodded, and disappeared in place. Raikage, after all, I still can't get your trust. But it doesn't matter, since you don't trust me, then forget it. Originally, I didn't come here to collect information. Since you want me to guard away Jinchuriki, that's right, when I leave, I can still have a good harvest. Hey, it must be a very interesting thing to leave Jinchuriki abducting the tail beast. Urana wanted to speak out in her heart, so she came to the Raikage building to accept the appointment. Hira, congratulations, I got away from Anbu, this is a great thing for you. Next, we will continue to work hard, you know. Fourth Raikage patted Urana's shoulder with a benevolent superior appearance. Yes, Urana pretended to be grateful and responded loudly. Then, he went to the Dragon Cave. Oh, I didn't expect such a young guy to take over. What mistake did you make to be demoted here by Master Raikage? Ha, did Raikage tell you, congratulations on leaving the dangerous place of Anbu, and let you continue to cheer and work hard to contribute to Cloud Shinobi Village. It's really like our appearance back then, ignorant, silly and naive. There are only 3 Cloud Shinobi in the Dragon Cave, and they all look like old fried dough sticks. Urana seemed quite silent about their ridicule, saying nothing. This caused Cloud Shinobi to shut up a little self-confidently, and then said, "Your task is to enter the Dragon Cave, and observe the situation of the two-tailed Jinchuriki every day. Oh, by the way, if there is something abnormal in the second-tailed Jinchuriki, I would trouble you to clear it up. Your task is quite simple, right?" Hearing this, Urana nodded and walked directly into the trapped Dragon Cave. Hey, you are like this. One of them, Urana, whom Cloud Shinobi met, walked into the trapped Dragon Cave. He just wanted to remind him, "You're going to die, that's the tail beast Jinchuriki," but just as he spoke, he was stopped by another person. Hey, remind him what to do, isn't it good to make him embarrassed? Dare to ignore me, I will let him understand the importance of having a good relationship with seniors. The man's face was full of glamorous expressions, and he grinned. Niue is a very irritable existence. That Jinchuriki is the same. It's not easy to mess with. Anyone who dares to enter their territory will be attacked by her. Hey, I'm looking forward to what kind of embarrassing posture this newcomer will be blasted out of. The last person grinned upon hearing the words. I am also looking forward to it. It's been a long time since no newcomers have come. It's so happy. Urana here, Sleepy Dragon Cave, or Wei Jinchuriki. Looking at the second-tailed Jinchuriki, who was sitting in the dark in front of him like a sewer, Urana stopped. Only 500 meters in front of him, the two wooden golems also slowly opened their eyes. A new guardian, kid, you are very young. She stood up and said, don't you know that no one can enter here unless necessary? When the words fell, her body suddenly exuded a terrifying aura, hot and violent, making her scalp numb. Oh, why can't you come here? My task is to guard you and observe your situation. If you don't come in, how can you know your specific situation? Urana raised her brows and asked curiously. HMPH, funny kid, you're still the first person to talk like this. Very good, then let me see your strength. People who cannot be recognized by me are not worthy to monitor me. Like the cowards outside, they only dare to pretend to be outside the cave. After speaking, she jumped and rushed to Urana, grabbing it with one claw. The claws are sharp and sharp. If this is caught, it's over. Golden tie technique. Facing you wooden golem who rushed in front of him, Urana didn't seem to move at all. Just a stare with her right eye, and wooden golem felt a powerful force rushing into her body, making her unable to move. Even if this time only lasts for a second, that is enough. A cold blade has been placed on her neck. How, from wooden golem Jonin, has my strength been recognized by you? Urana still asked with a smile on her face. This kind of swordsmanship, wait, I seem to have seen you. By the way, you seem to have fought with me 2 months ago, and you smashed my beastly tail with thunder and lightning, right? From wooden golem Yi's eyebrows twisted, and said, that thunder and lightning, it hurts. Hearing what wooden golem said, Urana quickly raised his hand to surrender, and said, no, you must have admitted wrong, how could I have that kind of strength? However, his denial has directly admitted the problem with wooden golem. Unexpectedly, someone like you would be arranged by Master Hokage to come to me, it's amazing, it's amazing. Wooden golem raised his brow and returned to the original place, saying, what's wrong? If you don't make a mistake, I think Master Hokage shouldn't be so faint as to let a talent like you do this kind of waste of youth. Urana asked, shrugging her shoulders, then I don't know. Maybe it's because I failed to perform an important task. Lord Hokage is not happy. Important mission. What kind of mission failure will make you be demoted here? You shouldn't tell me, you are the only one being demoted. Asked by wooden golem's interest immediately. In this trapped dragon cave, maybe no one would talk to her for several years, so she could only talk to her way. But Niu is not easy to get along with, so her life gets quite lonely and boring. Now Urana finally came, and she naturally had something to say. Hey, it's not a terrible task, it's just a bit more significant. Urana found a stone and sat down, and then regained the famous monument with wooden golem and said it to wooden golem. That's the case, but even if this mission fails and Master Hokage is criticized by the name, you shouldn't be sent here. Master Hokage shouldn't be so dizzy. Hearing what wooden golem said, Urana shrugged and said, there is no way, the truth is so dramatic. I'm already here. This is the best proof, isn't it? You have to believe it if you don't believe it. Interestingly, You kid still nods, unlike the cowards outside. Well, since Master Hokage asked you to guard me, then you have to be mentally prepared. It is not easy to guard me, and it is still such a close guard. Be careful that I might be beastly and out of control at any time. When that happens, you will be the first to suffer. Hearing what Wooden Golem said, Urana couldn't help touching his nose, and said, I think I should be mentally prepared, although the result is the same even if I am not prepared mentally. After listening to what he said, Wooden Golem couldn't help humming, then sat down again and continued to practice. Urana also drew his sword and waved it. The two guards, Wooden Golem, are not good at anything, only one thing is good, that is, time is absolutely free, and there is no task to bother him, he can freely earn strengthening points. And outside, hey, that's not right, how come this kid has been in for so long, and there is no news and no movement at all, is he fainted in shock? No, it won't be so fragile, and will be frightened and fainted. How could Lord Hokage send such a person? Maybe they have been killed by the two by Wooden Golem, it's not necessarily true. Go in and see what happened to that kid. If he didn't die, I could tell him that he didn't respect the severe lesson of the predecessors. If he died, he asked for it. The three Cloud Shinobi didn't want to share their views, and then they opened the seal of the Dragon Cave entrance together and walked in side by side. Speaking, were we too reckless? In case the Wooden Golem goes mad, aren't we, more and more bad luck? Don't look at what these three people said so proudly just now. As soon as they entered this sleepy dragon cave, they were all embarrassed. The legs trembled and the voice trembled. I like the same. But I have already come in. No, look at the situation. Just go out, is it too useless? Agree. As a result, the three of them moved their back to back, bit by bit, towards the place where Wooden Golem was. And the closer they got to Wooden Golem, the more cold sweat on their heads, and their faces were extremely pale. It's like a scourge by Wooden Golem. Finally, after more than 10 minutes, the three of them finally finished the 500-meter distance and came to the place where Wooden Golem was. But when they saw the situation inside, the three of them were stunned. What did they see? The two Jinchuriki were practicing quietly by Wooden Golem, and Urana was swinging his sword quite calmly. Between the two, the well water is not as peaceful as the river. What a fight, there is no discord at all. This. The three looked at each other, and they all saw the shock in each other's eyes, puzzled. This is unscientific. When they came in to check out the situation before, it was not the case. They had just entered here, and the Wooden Golem was about to lose control and burst out with a terrifying aura, frightening them and ran away. But how could Urana come in so harmoniously? Wouldn't he be attacked? When did Wooden Golem become so good-tempered? Oh, why did the three seniors come in? Are they here to visit me? Don't worry, seniors, I'm fine. Suddenly, Urana's voice came, and they were taken aback. The Urana who saw him was looking at them with a smile on his face. Behind him, Wooden Golem also opened his eyes. Hiss. When the three of them saw this scene, their hairs were all standing up, and their souls flew out of fear, and they ran away. Urana was left alone and touched her nose, with a helpless expression, and said, It won't happen, Lord Wooden Golem is not a scourge. And outside the dragon cave. Hurry up, open the seal, and absolutely can't let Wooden Golem rush out and go crazy, otherwise, like the last time, our life will be over. The three of them rushed outside at a speed less than a 100-meter sprint, and then quickly opened their Cloud Shinobi Village's sealed enchantment specially used to trap the tail beast. It only takes 2 special Jonins to open it, and it is powerful enough to resist a tailed beast bomb, and it has the ability to automatically repair it. It wasn't until the barrier was opened that the three people felt a little relieved. Then, they thought of Urana, but they didn't dare to go in and save people at all, and said, Don't care about him, wait a while and then go in and have a look. If he is dead, report to Lord Hokage and let him send someone over again. NS. Inside the cave. What a bunch of cowards, I just opened my eyes, look at them being scared like that. Wooden Golem sighed with helplessness and contempt, and said, Little devil, you will be my sandbag, next, so be prepared. My old lady won't show mercy. Urana couldn't help grinning upon hearing the words, then I will wait and see. I am looking forward to fighting the tail beast Jinchuriki. In terms of true strength, Wooden Golem can't beat him. Except that it is a bit more troublesome to deal with Tailed Beast Bomb. In other aspects, there are really not many places that Wooden Golem can threaten him. What an arrogant kid, you are the first one who dares to speak to me like this. Very good, I hope you won't let me down by then. After Wooden Golem said with excitement, he closed his eyes again, sank into his mind, and communicated with Matabi Niu. Time, a week passed in a blink of an eye. For a whole week, quite safe and sound. In the trapped dragon cave, people will bring food every day, but no one comes in to check the situation. The aura on Wooden Golem's body is strong and weak, sometimes fierce and sometimes manic. In constant change, in Urana's guess, she is probably constantly striving for Matabi's approval. Want to be the perfect Jinchuriki. Unfortunately, this errand is not that easy to do. Urana will stand down and practice chakra accuracy and purity in daily sword swings. Life flies lightly and peacefully. If possible, Urana very much hopes that this kind of life will continue. But after all, Wooden Golem didn't let him get what he wanted. Hey, kid, play with me, let me try my current strength. On this day, Urana was still swinging his sword, and the voice of Wooden Golem suddenly came, causing his movements to stop. I thought you wouldn't speak again. Sure enough, the one who should come will come after all. Urana wiped her sweat and said, however, there is a word I said ahead, I won't be merciful. Upon hearing this, Wooden Golem couldn't help narrowing his eyes and grinning. Very well, this is what I want to say. Boy, let me see if your arrogant capital don't fall down with one or two tricks. Urana immediately disappeared when he heard the words. And you Wooden Golem immediately entered the tail beast state, turning into a black and red two-tailed monster exuding a frightening atmosphere. Roar! The terrifying chakra breath vented out wildly, making the entire trapped dragon cave agitated. Call out! When Urana appeared in front of Wooden Golem, two outrageous sword auras flew out. Boom! In the tail beast state, Wooden Golem faced the attacking sword energy, raised his hand and bombarded it out. Suddenly, like a thunder on the ground, terrifying energy exploded, blasting the surrounding walls. Call out! Taking a step from Wooden Golem, he swishes in front of Urana and slams out. Base! Urana drew the knife and bumped away, without any retreat at all, so that the earth once again exploded a blatantly big hole because of the two clashes. Call out! Urana shuddered and flew back. Upon seeing this, Wooden Golem was chased by Wooden Golem, but the corner of Urana's mouth raised when she saw it. Just chasing here, that would be a mistake. He, who was seen by Wooden Golem, nailed the long knife like a kunai. In the moment she was evading, Urana's hands quickly became imprinted as if awakened. Then, a vigorous chakra burst out, turning into a majestic thunder and lightning, tearing open the ground and roaring. Squirrel Ball Jade. In the face of this raging thunder and lightning, Wooden Golem also condensed chakra, and sprayed a great fireball over 10 meters to fight. Amidst this thunder and lightning, there was an aura of shock in her heart. Boom! The flames hit the thunder and lightning, and suddenly, the dragon cave was completely illuminated, red, and the temperature was frightening. Hey! An astonishing thing happened, and Raiden actually tore open the fireball and continued to wrap around Wooden Golem. Seeing this scene, Wooden Golem couldn't help being surprised, and quickly grabbed a boulder in front of him with a palm. Boom! The boulder shattered at the sound, but the thunder and lightning also ran out of strength and disappeared. However, Wooden Golem's pupils shrank into needles in an instant. Urana disappeared from her sight. Where, although she was in the state of the tail beast chakra, it did not affect her to stay awake, she immediately looked around. Behind you, Urana's voice suddenly sounded, and Wooden Golem was startled, and immediately turned to look. The Urana who saw him drew out the long knife he threw, and instantly turned into a peerless swordsman, exuding an aura that made her feel chilly. Flash out! When the words were over, people disappeared, and she lost Urana's trace again. But this is not important anymore. Because she felt a violent sense of crisis. Hiss! It is the first time since becoming a tailed beast Jinchuriki that she feels such a severe sense of crisis, such as an ice cellar. Like a flash of light, there is no defense at all. Hey! There was a tearing sound from Wooden Golem, and then, I felt a sharp pain. I saw a scarlet hole in her arm, and the defense of the tail beast's coat, like paper, was so vulnerable. Puff! Not only that, but the wall around the dragon cave also cracked a deep hole, and the cut was extremely smooth. What a strong attack! You wooden golem couldn't help but exclaimed, then looked at Urana again, and said with a bit of discomfort, I lost. This made Urana, who was still planning to continue the attack, couldn't help stopping the attack with a little surprise. It's so simple, it's not like the style of a strong woman who won't admit defeat by wooden golem. He is not like this in the original book. If your kid hadn't been merciful just now, I guess I'm already lying in a pool of blood. It's a terrible attack, and there's no way to defend even the tail beast coat. Wooden golem exited the tail beast chakra state, still some of the horror and heat in his eyes had not disappeared. Concession. Now that wooden golem had surrendered, Urana naturally stopped. However, it is normal to have such an effect in one blow. After all, even Susanoo could break through with his full blow. Susanoo's defensive power is much stronger than the tail beast. Next time you fight again, you don't need to be merciful, kid, I admit your arrogant capital. After all, wooden golem sat down cross-legged again and went to practice. As for her injuries, she is recovering rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. What happened? It happened. At this time, a trembling voice came from behind Urana. Urana turned to look, but the three people he saw appeared in front of him again, with a look of fear and panic. They were talking outside, talking about their interest, but the whole trapped dragon cave suddenly trembled, and the rumbling sound continued to sound. Scared, they hurried in to check the situation. No, nothing happened. Urana smiled and paraphrased the classic saying of a certain Liu Kai swordsman. Really? Nothing happened. For Urana's answer, Renren couldn't believe it. If you don't believe me, see for yourself, what happened. I'm fine, and Niue Jinchuriki is fine, what happened? Urana shrugged helplessly, and then went on to practice the sword again. How do I feel that you are lying to me? It is shattered like this. Nothing hasn't happened. One of them questioned and asked aloud. It's probably an earthquake, Urana said solemnly. Should he say that he just had a fight with wooden golem, so he shouldn't scare these people to death? Anyone who can see it, knows what happened. Urana now has the strength, and naturally there is no need to be as cautious as before. He is not afraid that these people will report the situation to Hokage. Anyway, as long as he does not reveal his identity, Hokage will doubt him, and will not do anything to him. It turned out to be an earthquake. Oh, it turned out to be like this, then. Excuse me. The three looked at Urana, who was practicing swordsman, and wooden golem, who was practicing swordsman, then swallowed, and then fled and left. As for Lord Wooden Golem doesn't eat people. Seeing them like this, Urana looked helpless. Hearing this, Wooden Golem said without opening his eyes, unfortunately, there are too few people like you with discerning eyes. In most people's eyes, I am really a scourge, the one who can eat people. It was a joke, but at the same time, it was a bit sad. She is just a normal person, and she wants to live like a normal person. She has worked very hard to control this monster in her body. In most cases, she is completely like a normal person and will not bring any danger. But when everyone sees her, they will still fall back like a scourge. It can only be said that prejudice is a mountain. This is life. After all, the horror of the tail beast has been carved into the souls of everyone. It is not so easy to change their fear of the tail beast. In other words, don't you want to go outside to sea, leave this cloud shinobi village, leave this trapped dragon cave, and be a free traveler, without suffering anyone's strange look? With your strength, it shouldn't be difficult to do this. Hearing what he said, Wooden Golem shook his head and said, although the world of shinobi is huge, there are billions of places, but there is no place for me to shelter. Leaving is just to put myself in a more dangerous situation. There are not a few people in the ninja world who covet the tail beast in my body. Unless I can really find a place that can accept me and is strong enough, otherwise, I can only work hard for the recognition of Cloud Shinobi Village from Wooden Golem. These words are so bitter. Hey, I told you a kid what these are doing, you can't have a way. When Wooden Golem laughed at himself and was about to continue practicing, he listened to Urana and said, if I said yes. Quote question mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Hearing this, Wooden Golem opened his eyes as expected, and his eyes flashed with a terrifying spirit. Are you sure? Where can there be such a good place in this world? Have the strength to fight Cloud Shinobi Village, one of the 5 largest shinobi villages. Urana looked at Wooden Golem with a serious face, and said every word, Kurigakure. Kurigakure, HMPH, you're afraid that you are joking, we 2 Cloud Shinobi went to Kurigakure. I'm afraid we will be captured directly as a prisoner. Wooden Golem couldn't help laughing directly, but Urana's suggestion was not reliable at all. What if I say I can be accepted by Kurigakure? Urana raised her head again and looked at Wooden Golem. You sure? Yi's eyebrows moved by Wooden Golem, a little surprised and incredulous. Of course, I shouldn't be the kind of person who can speak big words. Urana replied with a smile at the corner of her mouth, her eyes full of bewitching, and said, would you like to give it a try? Your Excellency Wooden Golem. Upon hearing the words, Wooden Golem grinned and said, interesting, really interesting, but your thoughts are very dangerous. Just tell me so, don't be afraid of me leaking it out, you will die without a burial place by then. Urana replied confidently, since I dare to tell you, I am sure that you will not spread it. If you want to ask why, because I know you are not that kind of person. By Wooden Golem. HMPH, funny, kid, I will consider your words, I have stayed in this place long enough. Hearing what he said, Urana's heart was overjoyed, and she said, fortunately, I came at this time. After a while, she might not be so easy to talk about. At that time, she should have more affection for Cloud Shinobi Village, and will work hard to be recognized by Cloud Shinobi Village. He remembered that in the original book, after 2 years, 4th Hokage would be promoted by Wooden Golem, making her one of the Jonin of Cloud Shinobi Village. And about half an hour after the 2 of them discussed going out, in Hokage's office. 4th Hokage also received news of unusual movement from the Dragon Cave. Is there another change? However, there is no distress message. It seems to be all right. Sending Kira in the past is indeed a very good idea. He would receive one every few days that there was an abnormal change in the Dragon Cave, no wonder. As long as you don't break through the trapped Dragon Cave, it doesn't matter. Another half-month passed slowly. 22 days, 440,000 strengthening points, plus my original 33.5 W strengthening points, I can strengthen again. In half a month, Urana's life was very monotonous. In addition to earning enhancement points by swinging the sword, it is to compete with Wooden Golem. However, there is one thing that is quite irritating. In so many battles, Wooden Golem has never won it once. Either it was completely unable to rise by the blast of falling thunder, or was unable to move under the control of illusion, or was broken by the terrifying swordsmanship. Whether she uses a virtual dog cannon or tailed beast bomb, Urana is not afraid at all. Only then did she understand that Urana's defensive methods were stronger than attack methods. After all, he had never seen anyone who could defend the tailed beast bomb frontally before. If the barrier outside the trapped dragon cave is strong enough, I am afraid she has broken the defense and caused a riot. You guy is really unfathomable. It's hard to imagine that someone like you would be demoted here by Hokage. What does Hokage think? With such a terrifying talent like you, he didn't win over, but alienated you. No matter how you don't trust you, after seeing this strength, you shouldn't be sent to do this kind of thing. Wooden Golem really started to be curious about Urana. Hey, I've been demoted here, what else to say, luck. Of course Urana will not tell you Wooden Golem that he will come here because he has never let Hokage Master have his true strength. Just kidding, let Hokage know that he has the ability to deal with the tail beast, maybe send heavy soldiers to monitor him immediately. Then how can you leave Cloud Shinobi Village? He didn't think he could break through the encirclement of a Shinobu village. Urana didn't say the reason, because Wooden Golem was not too difficult for others to ask again, just continued to work hard to one day defeat Urana, and let out a depressed air in his heart. Always lose, it's so shameless. Enhanced attributes. Speed. After seeing the practice of Wooden Golem, Urana sank into the system and began to strengthen. The enhancement begins. This enhancement consumes a total of 50 W enhancement points. The moment the system's cold voice fell, a warm force slowly flowed into Urana's body. This kind of taste is indescribable, and you know the taste. The whole process lasted about 10 minutes. When Urana opened his eyes, he saw Wooden Golem looking at him with a weird face, and said, "You seem to be much stronger again, right?" Of course Urana smiled, and said, slightly improved, hee hee. Wooden Golem raised his brows and said, why, you don't want to lose to me so. Kid, you wait, I won't admit defeat. After speaking, I closed my eyes again and went to practice again. Upon seeing this, Urana couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, and then sank into the system. I have strengthened the 2 items. At this moment, my strength should not be inferior to Hokage, so when I escape, I should be able to escape more smoothly. Now, his speed may be inferior to that of Hokage, but his attack power is insignificantly weaker than Hokage. Not to mention his defense is definitely stronger than Hokage. If I fight with Hokage, I really don't know what the result will be. But at least, he will never fall behind. Next, I'm waiting for Wooden Golem's answer. If she answers to leave, it's best, but if she doesn't leave, then I should leave Cloud Shinobi Village too. My purpose of coming to Cloud Shinobi Village has been achieved. It's time to go back and start my plan. Kurigakure's god, it's time to change. After thinking about it this way, Urana started speed adaptability training and suddenly became stronger, naturally requiring a buffering process. On this day, another competition is over. Panting from Wooden Golem, looking at Urana, who was still calm in front of her, with little damage on her body, she said, you guy really got stronger behind me secretly. You didn't have such a terrifying speed a few days ago. To say that Urana has changed from a few days ago, it is that his swordsmanship is more fascinating and more difficult to deal with. Then there is the speed of flashing and moving, and the speed of reaction has become stronger. The change in ninjutsu is the smallest. You are getting stronger, how dare I stop, isn't that unscientific? Urana also gasped and said, don't look at him so relaxed, but in fact, it's not easy. The progress from Wooden Golem is really fast, and the control over the power of the tail beast is getting higher and higher. This gave her greater speed, strength, attack power, and resilience. Therefore, it is even harder to beat her. Urana doesn't know how strong Wooden Golem is in the original book. But he can be sure that at this moment, Wooden Golem's strength should not be inferior to Kakuzu in the original book. Because she has been able to use the skill of tail beastization. The tail animalization and her mind are stronger and more difficult than the pure 2-tailed Matabi. How are you thinking about that question? Do you want to leave with me to see the outside world? Urana looked at Wooden Golem and asked expectantly. Hearing this, Wooden Golem stood up and said with a slight joking, if I said no, would you kill someone? Urana spread her hand upon hearing the words, and said, do you think I have that strength? Defeating a tailed beast Jinchuriki is easy. But wanting to kill a tailed beast Jinchuriki, especially without attribute restraint, is very difficult. Unless there is overwhelming strength. It seems that your answer is not my worst plan. I can rest assured. The worst plan is that Urana will leave alone, but Wooden Golem will remain. Oh, you made the decision for me before I said yes. Don't you think it's too much? Upon hearing this, Wooden Golem asked with a sullen expression. Urana, since you asked me about the worst-case scenario first, it means that you must be moved. If your heart is moved, then you have agreed. Hearing this, Wooden Golem's eyebrows moved, then he sighed and said, it's really comfortable to talk to smart people. But it's also terrible, because the mind was completely guessed. At this moment, a voice suddenly came from outside the cave. Kira, I am here to challenge you again. It's Darui's voice. Hearing his voice, Urana couldn't help but sighed and said, why come again? This guy doesn't think of me as a whetstone, come to me every time he makes progress. Darui, why, you still have a connection with him. Listening to what he said, it seems that he often challenges you. In this case, you seem to be doing well in the village. How come you come here? When he heard Darui's voice, Wooden Golem became curious. Darui, that's the person Hokage values, and his status is not trivial. Most people can't reach him. And how can people who can come into contact with him and fight him several times fall into the trapped dragon cave? There seems to be a great secret in it. Hey, I knew I shouldn't have promised his first challenge, so there won't be so many things now. Oh, it would be great if I could refuse, but unfortunately I can't. If I refuse, maybe Hokage will come next time. Urana grabbed his head with a headache and went out, but his words made Wooden Golem look thoughtful. Outside the trapped dragon cave. Long time no see, excuse me. But I can't bear the excitement in my heart, I hope you won't mind. Darui touched his head and said embarrassingly. After seeing this scene, Urana can only sigh. Darui is like this, what else can he say? Can he say no? Cannot. Come on, let me see your growth these days. Urana walked to a mountainside platform outside the dragon cave. Only Urana's 3 teammates were left in a shocked mess in the wind. Urana will be challenged by Darui himself. Oh my god, what kind of fairy plot is this? Darui is the existence of Hokage's left and right arms, and his high status is exactly the rhythm of the next generation of Hokage. Such a person has taken the initiative to challenge Urana. What kind of identity is Urana, so amazing? For a while, they began to be curious about the origins of Urana. On the mountainside platform, come on, release your skills. Urana looked at Darui and pulled out the blade calmly. I'm on it. After speaking, Darui swished fierce thunder and lightning all over his body, and the speed suddenly became several times faster. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Urana, which made people feel a little too late to react. As the lightning armor mode, you still learned this trick after all. If it had been a few days ago, facing the sudden increase in Darui, he might have been a little rushed, a little overwhelmed. But now, it doesn't exist anymore. Exclamation mark. Base. With a heavy blow, Darui directly shook back. Darui couldn't help showing a look of difficulty, and said in surprise, what a fast speed, what a strong power. He felt his right arm trembling, and his mouth hurt. Darui, where is your gaze? It's not a good habit to be distracted in battle. Urana's voice suddenly heard in Darui's ear, making him a little chilly. Urana, who was there, had already arrived in front of him, and the long knife fell again. Boom! Darui raised his sword to fight, but only felt like a meteor smashed down. Urana's terrifying power made him completely unable to resist. Chi and blood started tossing directly, and he couldn't help but snorted. Blood came out from the corner of his mouth, and his arm was completely bent. Boom! Urana raised his leg to the top of his knee, and Darui suddenly bent his body and flew out, slamming heavily on the cliff rocks in the distance. Zitsa! A thunder and lightning appeared on Urana, and then dissipated. This was caused by the attack on Darui, who had just hit the fly. Okay, so awesome. Darui is not even an opponent. This guy is so powerful, why was it sent here by Lord Hokage? The 3 people poked their heads out and couldn't help but cried out in surprise as they watched this scene. And not far behind them, 2 people stood. 4th Hokage, and the ninja named Surui. Well, this Kira is very strong, let him be Darui's master, and Darui will surely grow up quickly. 4th Hokage watched this scene with a smile all over his mouth. Master Hokage is clever, this method is really good, this Kira is indeed a good partner for training. I am also starting to look forward to how far Darui will grow up now. Before he lacked pressure, so he was always lazy, and it was difficult to improve his strength. Now there is someone who is stronger than him in front of him, and he finally has a goal to cultivate hard to catch up. This Kira is good, it's very time to come. I hope he can always maintain this level, and do his best to build Darui. Surui put his arms around his chest, and said with a smile at the corner of his mouth. Perhaps in his eyes, it is an honor for Urana to provide strength for Darui to become stronger. After all, this is his eldest nephew. Back to Urana. What's the matter, Darui, is that only this level? If this is the case, it would be too disappointing. Urana looked at Darui, who got up in the distance, and said indifferently. Hehe, really powerful, very good, very energetic, I started to burn. The lightning on Darui became more intensive and manic. He grinned and said, then I will come for real. After all, it instantly turned into a thunderlight and disappeared in place. Yunliu 3 Sun Moon Slash. When he reappeared, he had already deceived himself to Urana. Moreover, the number has also changed from 1 to 3, surrounded by different attack methods. The speed is much faster than last time. It was almost half a breath, and the tip of the knife was about to stab Urana, making it too late to deal with. The scene that 4th Hokage saw, just like Surui, couldn't help showing a look of anticipation. He said, after the improvement of the 3 days and Moon Slash, Darui can already do 3 clones using 3 different attack methods. Moreover, the speed is greatly improved in the lightning armor mode. Kira, can you react? Surui, Let me see what you can do. Urana. As the thunder clone plus the deity. It's a pity, it's useless for me. When the words fell, a circle of white light flew around him, and a breath of incomparable coldness burst out. Only 3 sizzling sounds were heard, followed by a piercing hum of gold and iron. On the left, the 2 Darus in the middle turned into lightning and collapsed. On the right, Darui had a long cut open on his body, and he flew out again. This is the deity, lightning style. Darui's deity was still in Jayan, preparing to attack on the way back. However, how did Urana let him succeed? Lightning style thunder formation. At the moment when the words fell, an outrageous thunder illuminates Darui's pupils, and he violently strikes down, so that Darui can't help but take a breath of horror. This attack was so horrible, it made him chill all over his body instantly. Boom! Almost close to the edge of thunder, Darui was able to avoid the heavy blow. But this is just the beginning. Boom, boom, boom. Just like the anger of the gods, the thick thunder of the bucket, and the continuous drop of dimensionality reduction blows, made Darui completely lost the power to fight back for a while. 4th Raikage. Is it still a disadvantage? How strong is this guy? Even if Darui's knowledge is not very deep, but even lightning strike armor can easily break open, his swordsmanship is a bit too terrifying. Surui. More than that, his ninjutsu activation speed and ninjutsu power are also quite strong. I am afraid that even I am not as good as this lightning style. Surui was really surprised. He knew for the first time that in Cloud Shinobi Village, there really are such powerful juniors. Earlier when Darui heard that someone could suppress him, he still didn't believe it. After all, Darui's talent is that of other geniuses of his peers. But now, he really believed it. As the saying goes, there are some outsiders. Stop, I surrender. After avoiding a wave of lightning attacks, Darui quickly surrendered. Because he found that all these thunder and lightning fell against his body, there were several times he could not avoid it, but he still was not hit. It's okay once or twice, and it's the same more than a dozen times, it's definitely Urana deliberately releasing the water. Urana has released water, which means it is already obvious. Your strength is still as strong as ever, so you can't see the end at all. Darui said with a bit of frustration that he still had a lot of moves that he didn't use, but he just lost like this. Urana is strong enough to force him to use no tricks, and control the normal fighting situation. Where, it just happened to have a breakthrough, so this was a fluke to win. If there is no breakthrough, it may really not be able to keep up with your speed, it is terrible. With that, Urana still showed a face that was lingering. However, it is as fake as it really is, there is no credibility at all. Darui just smiled at this. If possible, he really wanted to say, I believe in your evil. The bad old man is very bad, obviously because he is too strong, so what a fluke. I replied once or twice. It's the same every time, do you think I still believe it? At this time, 4th Raikage and Surui in the distance also appeared behind Darui. The 2 of them that Urana saw appeared, their brows suddenly raised. As expected, 4th Raikage was nearby. But Darui was a little surprised, and said, Second uncle, Lord Raikage, why are you here? Then, he bowed his head again with some shame. I made you laugh, and I clearly challenged, but I lost to Kira again and again. Hearing that, 4th Raikage waved his hand indifferently. Nothing, don't care, Darui. In fact, you should know that it's not that you are not good at it. But your opponent is too strong, and his progress is so fast. With that said, 4th Raikage looked at Urana and said, would you like to try your skills with the old man? Hearing his words, Surui and Darui couldn't help showing surprise at the same time. Raikage would take the initiative to invite the battle, it is really a magical thing. Master Raikage thinks of me too much, how dare I? Urana just wanted to decline when he heard the words, but before he finished speaking, Raikage had appeared in front of him. Urana's body suddenly tightened, feeling an unprecedented sense of crisis. Lightning-style thunder pillar wall. Urana quickly released the defensive seal to protect herself, and said in her heart, however, I can't release it with all my strength, or I will let Raikage figure out my details, and I won't do it when I flee. Boom, crack. After the earth trembled violently, Urana's defense suddenly made an overwhelmed click. Urana's complexion changed suddenly, and she hurriedly withdrew. But just after landing, Raikage had already bullied him again, still coming with a punch, violently making people breathless. Puff! Urana immediately protected her with her hands in front of her, like a sandbag, vomiting blood and violently withdrew, hitting heavily on the distant rocks. Ahem, Lord Raikage, are you going to kill me? Urana stood up from the ruins under the rock, grinning bitterly. He touched his arm and said, "One blow broke my arm bone, Master Raikage, I can't continue working." Hearing what he said, Raikage raised his brows and said, "Ha, he's very good. You know, there are not many people who can catch my blow and have the ability to move. It's no wonder that you can beat Darui twice, Kira, your true strength is really good." Hearing this, Urana smiled bitterly. "Whereas I too strong, I am not under the mercy of Master Raikage. Otherwise, I'm afraid I would have exploded and died long ago." The flattering, fourth Raikage listened very comfortably. "Your kid is considered a talent, so I'll give you 2 days to cultivate and treat. I will continue to cheer in the days to come. Darui will challenge you at any time, understand?" After that, regardless of whether Urana agreed or not, fourth Raikage and Darui and Sarui left here. He was very comfortable on this trip today. It was precisely by Darui's reason to test Urana's real strength. I also vented the uncomfortable emotions that had accumulated due to the official document. However, he is indeed comfortable, but some people are uncomfortable. Fourth Raikage, you wait for me, one day I will punch you too. Also, treat me as Darui's whetstone. HMPH, you think it's good to send me to a place like this, and you want me to be a free coolie, you're afraid you didn't wake up from a dream. Urana stared at fourth Raikage's back for a few seconds, and when she looked back, she was back to normal. Fourth Raikage did not know that the reason why he was blasted by Urana a few years later was because of today's reason. You are so amazing. But why are you being? When returning to the entrance of the Dragon Cave, Urana's 3 teammates looked at him in shock and said, "But this is the case, there is nothing to say." Urana didn't want to explain anything to them, so she entered the trapped Dragon Cave. The 3 of them are not angry either. After all, the capable people always have a weird temper. Moreover, the rule in Cloud Shinobi Village is to respect the strong, and the strong can be respected even if they do nothing. It's no wonder that he can get along with Jinchuriki. It turns out that it's because of his strength. Yeah, because of his strength, even Matabi Fudao dare not mess around, and can only get along with him in peace. In that case, let's cooperate with him. He is standing guard inside, and we are standing guard outside, guarding this Jinchuriki together. And when the 3 of them decided on the plan like this, inside the cave. What's the matter? This is a gloomy look. It feels shameless to be defeated by Raikage in public. If you don't do your best, who can you blame? If you do your best, you won't be so embarrassed. I don't believe that someone who can completely suppress me will not even be able to support Raikage's 2 tricks. Although the 2-tailed Matabi's strength is not the forefront of all the tail beasts, it is at least cage level to fight against. Urana, who can suppress Matabi, is naturally much better than Matabi. Even if Raikage can defeat Urana, it will not be so easy. If I showed my full strength, then today's battle won't be so easy to end. Now is not the time to show my full strength. But I think that day should be soon. The 6 months agreed with Kurigakure is 6 months. The time must not be deviated, otherwise, returning to Kurigakure will also cause suspicion. In addition, he had already done such a thing once, which aggravated Kurigakure's doubts about his identity. So, don't add fuel to the fire, so as not to cause the opposite effect. Oh, what you mean by what you said is to make a big fuss in Cloud Shinobi Village, hehe, inexplicably people are starting to look forward to it. Wooden Golem said with an expression fearing that the world would not be chaotic. She is not the mature ninja in the original book now, and you and her now have little sense of where Cloud Shinobi Village belongs. Also, at the age of 2, he became the second-tailed Jinchuriki, and was trapped in this trapped dragon cave. No one will have a good impression of Cloud Shinobi Village. It's really going to be a big mess. I believe you will like that scene quite a bit. Urana said with a big smile recently, and after speaking, she started to swing her sword again. After seeing this scene, Wooden Golem murmured in his heart, boring man, he also quietly practiced. The advantage of cultivating next to the strong is that you can use him as an imaginary enemy to urge you to concentrate on your progress and become stronger. And not because one person is too bored to concentrate for a long time. Another month passed slowly. During this month, Cloud Shinobi Village was quite calm, and nothing happened. Wooden Golem's control over the second tail chakra has become more sophisticated, and his strength has naturally continued to grow. However, what makes her very depressed, no matter how strong she becomes, she can't beat Urana. The strength of this man is really unfathomable, and it completely makes people fully estimate where his true strength is. The time is up, Lord Wooden Golem, it's time to see the new world outside. Urana rarely swung a sword, but sat cross-legged on the ground and said, "Is it finally going? Hee, you better pray Kurigakure fits my imagination. Otherwise, don't blame me for leaving Kurigakure and returning to Cloud Shinobi Village again." Wooden Golem stood up excitedly and said, compared with the stable, calm, and approved by Cloud Shinobi Village 8 years later, when Konoha was in 63 years. Today she still has the vigorous air of a strong youth. Love adventurous, like to hunt for strange things, and yearn for the colorful world outside. Then go, I hope Raikage is ready to deal with it. Hey, it's really exciting, what a fun thing to make a noise in Cloud Shinobi Village. Urana sorted her clothes and walked to the entrance of the hole. He said in his heart, I don't know how far you can fight, Raikage-sama, facing me who have already entered cage level in all 3 attributes. In this month, Urana earned 56 W enhancement points to strengthen his agility attributes. Faced with Raikage's speed and strength, opponents need sufficient agility and speed. As for strength, he also wanted to choose to strengthen strength rather than agility at first. But after thinking about it again and again, he gave up on strengthening his strength. Because his fighting style has never been based on strength. After strengthening the attributes, he strengthened the Mist Shinobi technique, the Golden Bond technique, the Moisture Body technique, and the Water Gun technique. They were upgraded to S, A, and A levels respectively, and all reached the apex of the highest possible enhancement. Among them, after Mist Shinobi technique was promoted to the top, he got an unexpected ability for Urana. Distort the space, delay the velocity of the space. This ability makes Urana overjoyed, because in this way, he has a way to deal with a phase Kamui ability. After the water body was promoted to the top, it also gave Urana magical abilities. Hydration technique. In the water body mode, the deity can share the hydration ability with the water body. And the water body is not strongly attacked, it will use the hydration technique to avoid it and will not dissipate. Water mage technique. In the water body mode, the deity can switch positions with any water body. These 2 abilities make Urana call, awesome, my system. This is simply a bug-like ability, Urana can think of the despair of the enemy. However, maybe it is because these 2 skills emptied all luck. After the other 2 skills have been strengthened, except for their power and release speed, the rest has not changed much. Urana doesn't know how strong he will be after possessing these skills. But he knows that with this ability, maybe it is not a problem to single out Cloud Shinobi Village. There are still 36.3 W enhancement points left. Going back can improve my sister's strength. If there is still more, maybe it can improve the strength of several sisters' confidants and make Kurigakure stronger. And when he thought about it, he had already reached the entrance of the cave again. The 3 people guarding outside the cave naturally opened the barrier as usual. But this time, it was doomed that after this barrier was opened, something extraordinary would happen. When the 3 of them opened the barrier, they saw the 2-tailed Jinchuriki wooden golem behind Urana, their eyes widened, their faces were full of horror, and they couldn't say anything. 2-tailed Jinchuriki actually colluded with Urana. It's over. Golden tie technique. But before they could move, Urana had already started and restrained them. Just wait here, you will resume action in 1 minute. Urana stood outside the cave, took a breath of fresh air, then stared in her eyes, and said, want to see, who will reach the gate of Cloud Shinobi Village first? By Wooden Golem. HMPH, it must be me. After speaking, she instantly entered the tail beast code mode, turned into a black and red monster, and disappeared into Urana's sight. The earth blasted a big pit, and the momentum was not small. Fourth Hokage never dreamed that the rebellion inside Cloud Shinobi Village would come so quickly. Moreover, the source of the rebellion is still so miraculous. Just 2 people made such a big wave in Cloud Shinobi Village. What? Orway broke through the trapped dragon hole and escaped again. Fourth Hokage looked at Anbu, who was reporting the situation in front of him, and asked in disbelief. How long has it been since the last time the seal broke through? It hasn't been 4 months. How could it be so fast? This cycle is too short. Then the ninja guarding the trapped dragon cave, haven't they heard any warning? Fourth Hokage frowned and asked. 2 Tails broke the seal, and the ninja trapped in the dragon cave was naturally the first to know the situation. They should have issued a warning, but he didn't see any warning at all. But after listening to his question, this Anbu couldn't help sighing for a long time, and said, the reason why the 2 Tails broke the seal, I think it is because the guards let him out. The ninja named Kira that you sent to guard Neo is helping Neo escape from Cloud Shinobi Village. Master Hokage, your instincts are right, this guy is really disgusted. Quote question mark exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. This fool. Listening to Anbu's words, Fourth Hokage was so angry that his eyes suddenly became fierce, and all of them were angry at the scene. I can't forgive him. Then, he smashed the window directly, fell heavily on the ground from the Hokage building, and rushed in the direction of the distant movement of Cloud Shinobi Village. On the other side, about 2 kilometers away from the exit. Hold up, stop them, don't let them run away. Hurry up, SEAL class, get ready. Anbus, guard all exits, never let them take advantage of it. A group of Cloud Shinobi shouted, and the scene was quite spectacular. In front of them, there was a huge cat demon burning with azure blue flames, exuding unparalleled oppression. But this is not the only enemy. Because behind the cat demon, there is another enemy. Jinghong, are you sure you want to do this? You should know the cost of doing this. Fighting Wolf looked at the enemy in front of him, and said coldly. Jinghong, now put down our weapons and surrender, we can still plead with Hokage for you and let him spare your life. Tian Xin also said with an extremely cold expression. You would rebel. I really didn't expect. Why? Why did you rebel? Where can you go if you leave Cloud Shinobi Village? Besides, you can't leave Cloud Shinobi Village. Darui held a knife, looked at Urana in front of him with a little sadness, and asked. Faced with the questioning of the crowd, Urana smiled calmly, sorry, this is the truth. Moreover, I don't like to pinch my life in the hands of others. Darui, you don't always want to know how strong my full power is, you can do it today. Feel the gap, and then try to surpass it. Urana twisted her neck and said, I've been pretending to be myself, I'm really tired. So, I'm on it. The moment he finished speaking, he completely disappeared in front of everyone. Darui and the others couldn't help being shocked, exclaiming, so fast. In the next moment, an astonishing cold light that the 3 of them saw magnified in their eyes, giving them a sense of horror like an ice cellar. Won't let you succeed. The 3 responded immediately, and Darui entered the lightning armor mode and fought away with swords. Fighting the wolves, Tianxin and the 2 retreated suddenly, and their hands began to seal, lightning style. Puff! But the 3 people's plans came to an abrupt end when they were halfway through their journey. The severe pain in the chest and arm made them stare in disbelief. Especially Darui, looking at the broken long knife, a large hole of lightning armor was ripped open on his body. His face was in disbelief, and he said, it turned out to be 1 blow, and he was defeated. Is this the gap between you and me? I thought, there is no gap between me and you. Then, the wounds on the 3 people suddenly bleed violently, causing them to fall into a pool of blood. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. Hiss. It's not true. Is that a lie? When the rest of Cloud Shinobi and Anbu members saw this scene, their eyes widened in horror. How could it be so strong? Darui, Fighting Wolf, Tianxin lost to Urana in 1 move. The 3 of them represent the backbone of Cloud Shinobi Village. The crowd began to retreat a little. If you don't go, then I will go. Urana raised her head and grinned, then swished away again. Then, boom, what? Hey, do not want. Among the Cloud Shinobi team, there was a commotion suddenly. I saw a group of people turning their backs on their horses, and Cloud Shinobi screamed in horror everywhere. But even so, there are still more ninjas coming together. Don't panic, use ninjutsu together. Hidden weapon class, attack. Fire style class, call me. Illusory class, go. Another terrorist attack came towards Urana, a rhythm that would drown Urana. Roar, but these attacks were half called out by Erway's palm. When the other half fell on the ground, Urana had disappeared in place. This guy is moving so fast that he can't hit it at all. Ah, why are we so weak? There is nothing we can do with him. It would be great if someone with a better strength came to stop him, otherwise we would have nothing to do with him. Cloud Shinobi said unwillingly. Master Hokage, come on, otherwise, they will really escape. With Cloud Shinobi, he directly pinned his hopes on Hokage and began to summon Hokage. Lightning style Lulei. At this moment, a loud voice sounded, and a frightening thunder fell from the sky, hitting the huge second tail. Roar. Two tails were about to defensively, but another voice rang out, you won't be allowed to succeed. Lightning style thunder dragon roars. The captain Anbu named Feiyu appeared and launched an attack from behind Erway, making it difficult for him to take care of both. But is this over? Not at all. Lightning style six-pillar thunder prison. At the same time that the flying fish attack appeared, there was also an attack under the feet of the second tail. A hexagonal thunder and lightning cage is about to wrap the two tails in and restrain his actions. That's not okay, how can you keep the second tail in check? But in such a situation, Urana did not agree. No one saw him Jayan, so he listened and shouted, lightning-style thunder formation. Three violent blue thunder and lightning descended on the earth like light, aiming at the three of them and blasting down, making the three of them shocked, and quickly retreated. The crisis of the two tails was immediately lifted. It's done. A triumphant voice came from behind Urana, and an Anbu that was seen holding a long knife, covered in thunder and lightning, had already deceived him to the front. The face of this man was already showing the color of a victor. The opportunity he seized was Urana's launch of ninjutsu to rescue the gap between the two tails. He didn't believe that Urana had time to react to this sudden attack from behind. But will everything really be as he thought? Missing. Puff. There was only a tearing sound, and this Anbu, who had just been full of triumph, fell to the ground with horror and horror. I saw that his long knife was cut off, and a lot of blood came out from under him. Even steel can be cut. What kind of fairy swordsmanship is this? Hey, do we really have a chance of winning with this kind of enemy? Urana's horrible swordsmanship once again frightened a lot of Cloud Shinobi. Boom. But when they had just retreated, they were slapped off by Matabi. Roar. With a roar from the second tail, the sound shook the world, and a harsh chakra burst into the sky, and a lot of Cloud Shinobi blew up. Good job. That's it, Niu, let's break through together. Urana turned around to cheer Matabi, and then he broke through in the direction of the door again. It won't let you succeed, kid. Don't underestimate Cloud Shinobi Village, you fool. Want to break through Cloud Shinobi Village? Stop talking in sleep. Three different voices came at the same time, and Surui, Feiyu and the others were surrounded by murderous faces from the front and the left. The speed was so fast that it didn't give Urana a chance to react. Die! All three of them shouted with ferocious faces. Lightning-style emotion wave. Facing this deadly attack, Urana seemed unusually calm and spoke indifferently. Then, there were countless maniacs, thunder and lightning with thick fingers roared out. It was hit by the Surui, flying fish and other three people. Hiss. Where did the three of them think Urana's attack speed would be so fast? He could only watch his sword and stopped a few centimeters from Urana's body. Then he was hit by thunder and lightning before he could deal with it, and flew out. But the power of this thunder and lightning is more than just the three of them. What? Cloud Shinobi, hundreds of meters around Urana, was all affected. In the face of this terrifying and unspeakable thunder and lightning, few people can live defensively without incident. When the thunder level subsided, nearly 1 kilometer around Urana had lost her blockage. But, how could there be such a strong lightning style? In the distance, Surui supported his body and climbed up, his face full of horror. But suddenly, his pupils shrank suddenly, and then suddenly rolled away. The next moment, I saw a cold light stabbing, and it turned out to be Urana. He was full of regrets and said, as expected of Darui's second uncle, he really has some ability. But, Urana looked at him with a smile on his face, and said, "How many times can you avoid it?" The moment the words fell, he deceived himself again in front of Sarui and cut it down with a single sword. "Do not." Sarui felt cold all over, and his face was pale. He knew that if he couldn't escape, he would definitely die. However, he can't avoid it at all. Desperate mood suddenly enveloped him. Base. Just when he was completely desperate, a tall figure stood in front of him. It's Fourth Hokage. Boy, that's it. He was covered with amazing manic thunder and lightning, like a mad beast, exuding a startling breath. Master Hokage. It's Master Hokage. Ha ha ha, Master Hokage is here. Master Hokage, you are finally here. Seeing Hokage coming, the crowd of Cloud Shinobi suddenly showed their excitement, changing the morale slump just now. That's the end. Humph, Lord Hokage, don't be too confident. Urana raised her head and grinned, and then backed out, her hands turned into phantoms, and chakra burst out. Boy, do you think I will give you the opportunity to seal the seal? Hokage actually bullied herself in an instant, just as a violent attack came, lateral bolt of pain. Vigorous and powerful, without giving any possibility of escape, he approached Urana's body infinitely. Golden tie technique, Urana whispered quietly, her eyes staring. Hokage felt a force that was so strong that he could not break free, restraining his actions. His palm just stopped less than 2 centimeters in front of Urana. Do you think you want to do this kind of trivial trick? Give it to me. Fourth Hokage roared, thunder and lightning violently on his body, and immediately let him break free. Take it to death, kid. Immediately after resuming his actions, he rushed towards Urana again. Flash out, but instead of retreating, Urana charged forward, like a sharp long sword, to face Hokage head-on. HMPH, stupid, do you think your swordsmanship can break through my defenses? Upon seeing this scene, Fourth Hokage shouted with disdain. Ha ha ha, I really want to die, dare to touch Master Hokage head-on. He really doesn't know the horror of Master Hokage. Master Hokage, come on, suppress this overweight fool. The crowds of Cloud Shinobi couldn't help but ridicule. No one was optimistic about Urana and thought he could succeed. After all, Hokage's defenses will not be damaged even if the Sky Thunder attacks. As a person who can melee the tail beast, his defense is difficult even for 8 tails. Urana, how could it be possible? It was the scene of Futami that made a worried growl. She also doesn't think Urana can succeed. In this way, Urana and Hokage passed by. Puff! Suddenly blood came out of Urana's shoulder. Fourth Hokage turned around triumphantly, and when he was about to say something, blood suddenly burst out of his chest. A huge hole traversing his entire chest suddenly cracked, and the defense of his lightning armor was broken. How can it be? Hey, am I wrong? This scene stunned all Cloud Shinobi, and their faces were full of horror. Lightning-style thunder formation, but Urana didn't care about their horror. With a finger to the sky, she drew a white thunder and lightning with a thick water tank and hit Hokage directly. The speed was so fast that even Hokage didn't have time to react. Ah, kid! Amidst the thunder and lightning, Hokage's snarling roar was heard, which made the scalp numb like a resentful ghost. Hokage, pay the price for your underestimation. Fall. At the moment when the words fell, another thunder slammed down, smashing the earth into a huge hole. Boom boom boom. Several successive lightning bolts fell one after another tyrannical, and a radius of several hundred meters became a terrifying ruin. Master Hokage. Seeing this scene, the Cloud Shinobi suddenly showed their extremely worried expressions, and looked at the big pit in panic. Don't worry, Lord Hokage. How can I lose to this kind of person? Many Cloud Shinobi are praying. Hey, violent. The roar of Fourth Hokage resounded everywhere again. There was a flash of thunder before Urana's eyes, and a huge elbow violently hit, making people too late to react. Die, kid. With this blow, he could smash even steel. He had the confidence to smash Urana's bones and give him a fatal blow. Lightning-style thunder pillar wall. But it was a pity that a hexagonal lightning wall blocked him, exuding a palpitating gray thunder and lightning. Boom! Just like an earthquake, the surrounding 100 meters of land broke and exploded again, and the terrifying air wave directly blasted the surrounding Cloud Shinobi away. The sound of horror rumbling is as frightening as thunder. But at this moment, they didn't pay attention to this, and everyone's eyes were on Hokage and Urana. Grey Thunder. Master Hokage's attack was actually blocked. How can this guy be so strong? What I saw in front of them, Hokage's frenzied blow did not break through Urana's defense. Even though the wall of the Thunder Pillar is already scarred, it is blocking Hokage. Without a single blow, Hokage held both hands like a knife, and a more violent thunder and lightning erupted all over his body. He jumped up like a brutal beast, and smashed down with an open sky, lateral bolt of pain, chop. With this blow, it was a hill, and he could cut off the top of the hill. Master Hokage, go! It must be successful. Seeing this scene, the Cloud Shinobi shouted out loud with strong hope. Jing Ni technique. Urana actually withdrew the defense and glared. The next moment, something magical happened. The thunder and lightning on Hokage who saw him instantly disappeared, but his aura became disordered, extremely madly uncontrollable. Puff! Urana leapt, and the long knife pierced Hokage's chest. Then, a palm hit him heavily into the ground. Puff puff! Urana twisted his waist in the air, swinging his sword again and blasting a fierce sword aura, all attacking fourth Hokage in the ground. Master Hokage, you fellow, you are not allowed to hurt Master Hokage. Hurry up and stop me. At this scene, the crowd of Cloud Shinobi couldn't help but burst into tears, and rushed over, trying to prevent Urana from landing and rushing to fourth Hokage again. Lariat. But when they were halfway through the rush, fourth Hokage's voice rang again. I saw him bending his arm, his wrist turned into Shinigami's sickle, and he passed by Urana. Puff! Suddenly, blood dripping, the Urana who saw her broke away directly and fell to her knees weakly. The scene fell into a brief silence, and then, there was an astonishing cheer. Long live Master Hokage! Ha ha ha, I won! You know it's great, you fool! The crowds of Cloud Shinobi showed joy and enthusiasm. But after fourth Hokage finished all this, he suddenly fell to his knees, and a big mouthful of blood spurted out. The breath became extremely weak in an instant. Master Hokage. Seeing this scene, Cloud Shinobi couldn't help being shocked. Don't worry, I didn't. Fourth Hokage struggled to get up, and when he was about to say that he was okay, he was stabbed through his chest again. He looked at the long knife in his chest, and then at Urana who was smiling and groaning behind him. He couldn't help but show a look of disbelief. How, maybe, why are you, okay, you are obviously by me. Urana drew a long knife, grabbed his neck and pressed him into the ground, saying, you obviously cut off your head, why are you still alive? As he said, Urana couldn't help but laugh, and said, aren't you underestimating me? That's just my moisture body. What? After hearing this, fourth Hokage was shocked and looked at it quickly. The Urana he saw with his head severed slowly turned into a stream of water. Urana, don't you always want to see my true strength, how about it? My 90% strength still pleases you. Fourth Hokage. Why, betray Cloud Shinobi Village, to you, it should be pretty good too. After hearing this, Urana couldn't help but laugh, and said, it's good for me. Transfer me from Anbu to the assassination team, then to the Dragon Cave, and treat me directly as Darui's whetstone. Is this good for me? Master Hokage, do you have any misunderstandings about this? Fourth Hokage retorted, that's because of your, unidentified, this is my test of you. Urana laughed and sarcastically said, when can I find out? 1 year, 10 years, or 20 years? Don't be too hypocritical, you didn't intend to find out my identity, so don't say anything. This is a test for me. It's disgusting. Oh, yes, the only thing I want to thank you for is that you let me come to the Dragon Cave, which gave me a chance to meet Niu Jinchuriki and leave Cloud Shinobi Village with her. There is no place to stay here, there is a place to stay, Lord Hokage. Before this, please take a good look at how weak your Cloud Shinobi Village is when facing the enemy. After speaking, without giving the surrounding Cloud Shinobi a chance to react, a black spell appeared on Hokage. Lulu Karma Curse, Urana said in a low voice. I can't move, what did you do to me? Fourth Hokage gritted his teeth and asked. It's nothing, it just makes you unable to move. Don't worry, Lord Hokage, I will restore your mobility when needed. Now, please be my hostage. After that, he grabbed fourth Hokage and rushed directly to the second tail, and shouted, Second tail, retreat. You wooden golem, who kept his tail beast-like, immediately looked over when he heard the words, and saw that Urana directly captured fourth Raikage, and couldn't help being shocked. Awesome, I didn't expect your strength to be so strong. The voice of Wooden Golem came from Matabi's mouth, and naturally attracted the attention of many other Cloud Shinobi. Just kidding, Master Raikage was captured alive. How so? All Cloud Shinobi couldn't help but doubt their lives, and they felt like the sky was falling. Such a powerful Raikage was caught. This is too ridiculous. Everyone, if you don't want your Raikage-sama, let us go out honestly. Urana leapt to the back of the second tail, looked down at the crowd, and said, "Don't think about it, you fool, hurry up and put Master Raikage down. Don't think you can leave Cloud Shinobi village easily." Cloud Shinobi didn't intend to give in at all after hearing this, and they all looked like they were smashing to the bottom. "Oh, don't you plan to move away? Then it seems that you don't know the seriousness of the situation." Urana grinned, the power in her palm suddenly strengthened, and thunder and lightning appeared. Fourth Raikage suddenly showed pain, and the expressions of all Cloud Shinobi who watched became even more angry. "Urana, you don't think I'm afraid to kill him? Give you 5 seconds to think about whether to let go or not to let go. However, I do not guarantee how serious the consequences of your refusal to let go." 5, 4, 3. As Urana counted down, the expressions of the crowd of Cloud Shinobi began to change. From anger to unwillingness, powerlessness, worry, and so on. 2. Seeing that it was about to count to 1, someone finally spoke. "Stop, we promise your terms." The owner of the voice is a woman. When the crowd of Cloud Shinobi heard the sound, they saw Raikage Secretary Azabui walked up and said, "Can you guarantee that after we fulfill the promise, you can also fulfill the promise? Then you think your Cloud Shinobi village has a bargaining chip with me?" Urana raised her brows and asked a little proudly, "Really, are you sure?" Hearing this, Ma Bui actually laughed, as if the conspiracy had succeeded. He shouted, "Master Killer Bee, do it." The moment the words fell, Urana heard a loud shout, followed by a sharp sense of crisis. I saw a big man in the coat of a tail beast, already behind Urana, doing a lariat posture to behead Urana. "Master Killer Bee, go. It must be successful, please. Please rescue Lord Raikage." Cloud Shinobi couldn't help showing ecstasy in this scene. He opened his eyes wide and looked expectantly at Killer Bee, holding his breath, unwilling to miss the 1 millisecond rescue picture. 6. Zhu, Yan, Ure. But just as the Killer Bee was about to approach Urana, when the two tails gave out an exclamation reminder, Urana's indifferent voice also rang. I saw a red hexagonal enchantment, which isolated Killer Bee and Urana. Boom. The sound of thunder trembles in all directions, and the earth bursts apart, even if the two tails can't help being shaken back several steps. But the crimson barrier released by Urana was not damaged at all. Not only that, the crimson enchantment also has an autonomous attack effect, and against the attacking Killer Bee, a condensed black-red flame sprays out. Even the coat of the tail beast was burned, and Killer Bee was resisted. How so? Why can he actually block Killer Bee's attack? Can't even Master Killer Bee? At this scene, the Cloud Shinobi, who were still full of hope, couldn't help showing a trace of despair at this moment. The feeling of wishing to be crushed easily is really uncomfortable. Mabui, it seems that your idea was not successful. Urana looked down at Mabui, and the corners of her mouth were all jokes. You already knew Lord Killer Bee was behind you. Right, otherwise, how could you react so quickly? Ma Bui said with a slightly unpleasant face. The mortal blow she carefully prepared was easily shattered by Urana, and it was somewhat of a blow to her confidence. Of course, a strong like Killer Bee is in the village. Do you think I will be unprepared? If I didn't have this awareness, I would have died hundreds of times in Kurigakure. However, there is one thing you may be wrong. My quick response is not because I prepared it in advance. It's because my reaction speed is so fast. Don't use your common sense to challenge my ability to act, because that will make you very worried. As he said, Urana looked away and said, Killer Bee, I advise you not to move. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that your brother will be fine. Don't challenge my limit of patience. Hearing this, Killer Bee, who was about to take action in the distance, had to stop immediately. Brat, you must screw your head off, oh yeah. Killer Bee expressed his thoughts with his unique rap tone. Two tails, let's go. Upon seeing this scene, Urana smiled and directly expanded the 6-pillar flame array to envelop the second tail, and let her go out of the village. Oh, by the way, please lift the barrier over the village, don't make me embarrassed. Listening to the unscrupulous words of Urana, the crowds of Cloud Shinobi are gnashing their teeth, but they are helpless. Strength is king, Urana's fist is too big. Coupled with the fact that he still has a trump card like Raikage in his hand, they dare not do any random behavior at all. I can only watch Urana and Niobe leave grandiosely like this. Maybe since the establishment of Cloud Shinobi Village, I have not experienced this kind of despair and humiliation. After all, Senju Hashirama was peace-loving, and Uchiha Madara was also peace-loving. First Raikage's attitude towards First Hokage is also tough. Become free. The moment he stepped out of Cloud Shinobi Village, Niu couldn't help letting out a joyful howl, looking up to the sky for a long time. It's really amazing that you did it. Two Tails returned to Wooden Golem, she admired and exclaimed a little. That's natural, I never do anything unprepared. If I say that I take you away, I will take you away naturally, and I won't cheat you. Urana smiled, and then looked at the fourth Raikage who was caught in his hand, full of resentment, anger, gritted teeth, and wished to devour him alive, and said, don't make this expression, you know, I can always let Cloud Shinobi Village lost Raikage and fell into chaos. Of course, I won't do this now, because I still need you to resist Cloud Shinobi for me. But if you irritate me, I don't mind Tu Ying, you know, I have this ability. When fourth Raikage heard the words, his eyes were full of angry flames, and said, boy, I won't let you go. You'd better pray that you will have enough countermeasures next, otherwise, what is waiting for you will be our full pursuit of Cloud Shinobi Village. Hearing this, Urana couldn't help but smile, and said, then I will wait and see, Lord Raikage. Then he looked behind fourth Raikage and said, everyone, I'm really scared of chasing so tight. Can you please return to Cloud Shinobi Village and stop chasing it out again? Azabu clenched her teeth and said angrily, Kira, don't be too much. Don't really think we are bullying. Good bully. No, 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 I've never felt that way, I just made friendly suggestions. Of course, it doesn't matter if you don't want to, but then I can't guarantee the safety of your Lord Raikage. As he spoke, fourth Raikage snorted again, his face full of pain. Stop. Stop it now. We promise your terms, stop it. Seeing this scene, Mabuyi suddenly became anxious and hurriedly said. Oh, in a hurry. Then don't retreat. Why, want to watch me pinch Lord Raikage to death? Urana said leisurely. But don't look at him so calmly and quietly, behind his back, he has been spreading out the perception array to prevent being attacked. Okay, let's retire. Asabuyi stopped very aggrieved and told the Cloud Shinobi to retreat back to the village. Mr. Tutai, please go back too. To be honest, I am quite jealous of your ninjutsu. Urana looked to the other side again, dressed like Killer Bee, said the man with one eye wearing a blindfold. Tutai, Cloud Shinobi Village Blood Legacy Ninja, Lava-style Blood Legacy boundary made rubber with super defensive power and control power. Urana didn't want to be dragged by him. Because it was more difficult than being dragged by Killer Bee. In the original book, he used rubber to withstand third Raikage's Hell Stab. Madara can be seen to the extent of its power. After all, the wind-style spiral shuriken can't help but be absolutely defensive, and the Hell Spur can be broken. Naturally, the soil platform can only retreat helplessly. He originally planned to take advantage of the opportunity to find a flaw to invade and save fourth Raikage. But helpless, Urana just didn't give a chance, and there was no flaw in his defense. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.